The S&P 500 here poised to open marginally lower to kick off the session. We're going to talk about the overnight session in a bit, but lots of volatility specifically in Asia and the South Korean Kospi index. And as you can see here, given that tech-heavy move to the downside in Asia, you have a corresponding drop here and more significant gap down in the NASDAQ compared to what we saw with the SPY. We'll take a look at USO as well because we're hearing potentially about a slight escalation of tensions over there. Not too much of a gap up here, but again, slightly poised to open higher compared to, being poised to open lower for both the NASDAQ and the SPY. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping as well. At 8:30 a.m., you get U.S. trade balance is basically the one big number here that we have today. But you also have comments from U.S. President Trump. He's going to be appearing in camera with the leader of Turkey, the president of Turkey. That meeting set to take place at 8:15 a.m. Then at 12:05 p.m., he'll be attending a NATO dinner. So certainly keep that in mind. I'll cover all of that for you guys. Let's take a look as well here. Speaking of weakness here in South Korea, you had a drop right now in a lot of these memory-related names. Here's Micron. There is SanDisk. Take a look at STX as well. These names dropping lower in tandem with a drop in Samsung. They actually posted really strong preliminary earnings, but the market didn't react too well. And so far, looks like the U.S. market not reacting too well to these numbers either. SpaceX to trade alongside the NASDAQ. You have an interesting story here with Walmart. President Trump tangentially involved in that story here as well. And lots to talk about here on an analyst side. So lots to get into. Good morning and happy Tuesday, Sharif.
Thank you, Adira. Yes, there's broad weakness in the semiconductor space, guys, as Samsung reported earnings and the market was none too pleased with their CapEx guidance, nor are they really ambitious that the memory demand will increase from where we are here. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on that. Google also throwing their hat into the energy fusion ring, a headline there, and then Meta being sued here by several states for a combined $1.4 trillion. Still up on the morning, though. SpaceX being added to the NASDAQ 100, of course, and Microsoft Xbox restructuring, some layoffs coming out there. And then Rivian raising money to kind of get the next phase of production going with the R2, $1.5 billion, sending that stock down 10%. Baba in focus with Anthropic, Klarna also in focus, LMT, and Synopsys exiting some of their legacy software there. So a lot moving here this morning. Adara, Fiserv as well, I think, I was looking at this one, is up 5%, exploring a debit networking sale, apparently.
There's definitely, I think, a lot to discuss looking forward, but let's take a look back and see what we did here in the blue ocean. We're going to take a look here on Blue Ocean Technologies to see what were the top most traded symbols. Micron, number one here, so we're talking about memory in focus, and that's immediately evident. Number two here, you have SOXL, that's the Direction Daily Semiconductor Bull 3 times ETF. SanDisk, another memory name here, SNDK, their third. Round-Hill Memory ETF, or DRAM, that's fourth. Then you get MSCI South Korea ETF, that's EWY, that's fifth here. Then another South Korea ETF, this one leveraged. This one is in sixth place here, QQQs, seventh. Micron levered ETF in eighth, Intel, ninth, and 10th place. We got TQQQ. So really, it seems like a lot of people in the overnight market were trying to take advantage of that tech drop, both in America and in the U.S. with a lot of emphasis, America and South Korea with a lot of emphasis on the memory aspect of this drop. With all that in mind, now that we've kind of seen what happened again last night, let's take a look at what's going to happen today with Sean and Neil. Welcome back, Neil, and good morning to both of you.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, a little Blue Ocean recap. That's
what I was saying. I said to Adara, we got a little Blue Ocean recap there. I was saying to Neil, that was I
like new things. Exciting.
I was like, dude, that's something that I missed, or is that are we doing that every day, Adara?
We're doing this. It's a brand new thing. We're going to be trying to do it every single day around this time.
There
you go.
It's a brand new thing.
I thought maybe you guys added it last week.
I just thought maybe I wasn't paying attention before because I was like, what this Blue Ocean thing? That's new. And then mentioned it, but welcome back. So I heard your trip was well, obviously. That's nice.
The trip was a heck of a lot of fun, no word of a lie. What the best things about it was how dramatic all of the England games were. So therefore there was like high tension and people are losing their minds. Although I didn't, the last one was at 1 a.m. and we had to fly out yesterday. So like I didn't.
Oh, that's right. The timing would have been off.
I was waking up and checking the score like 3 times, but it was like 1 a.m. to 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Everybody was a zombie yesterday in the morning.
That would have been the whole city would.
No, we're on the train, and like most of the dudes were like just like Walking Dead.
Yeah,
you could tell everybody had stayed up for the match, and they let kids go to school late and all kinds of stuff. But we're back, and the market's down. Boo. Come on. Can we have an up market? I'd like to return to up 1%.
Well, you should return. Yeah, you should return yesterday. We were up a bit yesterday, and now today down on Samsung, of course, a little bit of those issues as we worry Marvell to the downside. Some of these other names starting to go down. So we had a big time. I mean, AMD was at all-time highs yesterday. I think the market will be fine. It looks like we're trying to get going here. But there's SpaceX with that little ad yesterday. Nice move. We picked up some 155s, early, and then it started to rip there late. Today will be added to the to the NASDAQ 100. So we'll wait to see what happens with SpaceX coming through today. I have that marked down. And then I just put out on Twitter there, I have Palantir as a long and SpaceX as longs. But today looks like a short day, so we'll have to wait to find out what's going on. And then yesterday we had a big trade off the open with Apple. We'll see if we can get that again here today at some point. But Apple, wow, all-time highs incoming for Apple today as we're all the way back. Like people wrote this thing off. We're down to 275 last week, up to 315 here today as it's really, really rocking and rolling. It's just some of the chip names, right? We talked about that Marvell. We will go over some Samsung and TSM. And all that as we continue to go. SK Hynix coming on Friday, so that should be somewhat interesting there. Won't necessarily trade it as a IPO, but that should be fun to see what ends up happening there. I want to check on Bending Spoons. Same thing, $35, $36. That's another recent IPO. And then yesterday, because of what's been happening, Cerebras is going to be back down to that 180 mark today. This will be the first time that we'll test in and around that 180. Actually, no, we broke. Oh, my bad. We broke into 165 last time. So we'll wait to see what happens here. At 180 was where we came out with Cerebras, and then it popped to 350 on that first day. So this is going to be another name. I actually didn't realize it had broke through there last week. So June 25th got down to 165 there, and then a nice battle back. And so we'll see another IPO that really hasn't won over the hearts of investors quite yet. So that's what we're doing, man. Did we ever see a tilapia farm? No, I've never seen it. Tilapia has been banned, I think, from our...
You guys didn't have it.
No. Yesterday, unfortunately for you, we had burgers again. So every day you're not here, needs to be burgers. But today should be a good one. We had a sneak peek yesterday, so
it won't be bangers and mash. It won't be like a steak pie. It won't be fish and chips.
No.
All the usual stuff that you got to have it. The Yorkies are a must. Erin's decided that
you gotta eat properly when you're in the right country.
She's in love with the Yorkie. It's like she'll just eat those. Well, half a meal too, protein, vegetables like that.
Well, you're doing a lot of walking around. You got to eat some kind of healthy.
You got to get your.
And you're on the Uber boats. You were saying that was a good look.
Honestly, that ended up being one of the weird. I want to say it's not a weird highlight. Actually, I think I might have.
I mean, I came back and it was like it was a great highlight for the Uber boats.
So we got stupid lucky. And the night we decided to take the Uber boat, we're on the way back, and we went right into the sunset. So we were going into the sunset. We caught London Bridge as it was, not the London Bridge, the Tower Bridge. As it was going, as they were bringing it up and down, so we were able to catch that. If you're ever in London, the Uber boat's really cool. And apparently, I talked to Adam, he's like, yeah, I never used it. I'm like, you're there. Might as well. Like, get to be on the Thames, enjoy it a little bit. Not that does anything for the stock, but it's convenient. It's actually good for. I could see why people would use it to commute as well. But I come back, and some things have been moving. I look over at the financials, like really happy about the financials, really happy about Robinhood. We talked a little bit of that today, but it's as if nothing happened in Uber. Like it's exactly what it was doing before. So this is just as dead as it was, but hey, the boats are fantastic and they were fun.
Yeah, I wish I didn't like the Uber boats so much because when I came back, I was buying Uber because I liked the boats.
It's so cool.
I wish I bought Micron, for example, instead. But yeah, okay, 810 right here. Weather becoming nice around here. Your Blue Jays continue to be crazy disappointing, obviously this year. But hey, man, you get one up year, one down year. Hopefully they'll be back there. And at least Vlad pulled himself from the All-Star game, which
he's clearly hurt.
Yeah, he's going to take some time off with his back there. 4 home runs this year. They just finally got one run. Yeah, it was 31 innings they've scored. The last 31 innings, they scored 1 run.
Well, they're taking the World Cup to heart.
Yeah. They're really sad about that. And of course, with the Dominican Republic being out, of course, big time effects for Vladimir Guerrero.
It was sad that when Portugal lost.
Yeah. Portugal was big time game here against Croatia.
Yeah.
Apparently that was one of the worst games yesterday. Spain versus Portugal. Apparently it was a horrible game. But yeah, congratulations to Belgium. Unfortunately for the United States there yesterday. But hey, no host team making it through.
Nope.
To the round of 8. But the round of 16 was pretty.
That's
nice.
still impressive, man.
Yeah. So now we go. Oh, it's Egypt versus Argentina. When is that game? Is that today? That's today. Oh yeah, that's today. Wow, that's gonna be a big game there. Hopefully, they can. All you need to do is hang around, because there's been these late goals all over the place.
Anything can happen, although I'm not sure anything will happen. Well, you can't predict these things. To be honest, it's been so competitive, and that's been a lot of fun. The parity's a lot better. Not that I expect. What do you think? What do you think, Shreve? You think Egypt's got a chance?
When I saw Cape Verde actually play that way against Argentina, it gave me hope that obviously Egypt could be competitive as well. So I think we really have a lot of athleticism. What I do like is our ability to win the ball back. What I don't like is our ease with which we give up the ball. We try to make these low probability passes that are deep. Anyway, I think it's if we can stop the big man, Mr. Messi, then I think we've got a shot now.
There you go. You heard it here from Sharif, and I'll say, I don't know, let's just make up a random score, 3-1, Argentina.
Yeah.
Messi scores
2
once. Only once, though.
2-0 Egypt.
Ooh.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
He's feeling
I'm feeling Egypt over there. It's a little bit of Mo Salah. I can name one player, Mo Salah. I think that he has a chance.
Liverpool, baby.
He has a chance to score 2 goals. Some Arsenal guy scored yesterday, I saw. Yeah, that's right, Mourinho, for Spain. So that was a good one there. Moving on, and now we wait to see the next World Cup, which is where? Does anybody know where it is?
Yeah, Morocco, Spain.
Oh, that's where. It's
it's all regional.
Oh,
now.
good.
I don't think
cool.
they'll ever go back to doing.
Oh, good.
It makes so much sense to region.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, Portugal, Morocco, and Spain. That's awesome. Okay, let's go back over to the desk. It's 8:12. A couple stories to cover.
Yeah, we're going to be definitely getting into some DRAM and talking about what happened last night in South Korea a couple times. We'll start that in a second. But I also want to mention SpaceX. This is another name that's going to get covered on a rundown. But I am seeing some analyst notes come through. We know they're now going to be trading with the NASDAQ today. I'm basically only seeing buy coverage. Average analyst rating here about 200 to 235. But then you get Raymond James, which assigned an $800 price target on SpaceX with a strong buy rating. Apparently, this has to do with, the PE they've calculated here, but they also say the company is one of the defining industrial infrastructure companies of the 21st century. I mean, this is crazy outlier price target. Sharif, do you see more analysts kind of weighing in with this really outlier expectation, or do you think we're going to get a little bit more muted expectations? Again, company's still very new, just joined the NASDAQ.
That's a great question, Adair. I think it'll really depend on the rating agency themselves and how they view that. We've seen rating agencies take completely diametrically opposed views on Tesla. Some people have price targets of $80, south of 100, and some have even loftier price targets. So I think that's kind of the emotions and the polarization of Elon Musk, Adair.
Yeah, we'll get, again, talking memory in a second. I just want to let you guys know, Bloomberg reporting that Amazon has launched an 8-part U.S. investment-grade bond sale. They're expected to price later today. So another bond sale here in Meg 7 world. We're going to talk, though, now about these memory names. I went over the Blue Ocean review. About half of the names that were the most traded tickers in Blue Ocean were related to memory, and that's because of what happened with Samsung last night.
Absolutely, Adara. That's accurate there. Let's talk firstly, obviously none of us trade Samsung. Of course it is on the pink sheets, but I just want to highlight here, guys, their profitability because it speaks to the possible froth in this market. Listen to this. So just for Q2 of this year, 90 days, they made $58.4 billion in profit, not revenue, in profit. That supersedes all of their profit from all of 23 to 25, and they did that in a 90-day window. I think that's pretty insane. Nonetheless, they're selling off and they're bringing down the entire semiconductor space with it. There's a lot of reasons for that. One, the capex is quite high. The market, as it has been for the last few months, is worried about excessive capex. Adair just brought us Amazon raising. Well, they're raising probably for AI capex. But I also want to mention that the Whisper number here was markedly higher than the LSEG number. So LSEG was looking for 87.3 trillion won. Well, the whisper number was between 90 to 100 trillion yuan. So, possibly maybe some dampened expectations here. Also, there is the fear that we're peaking in terms of memory demand, but, certain analysts have a different view of that, Adara.
We're going to have to wait and see how do you guys view these memory plays today.
What's interesting is, are we still going to get shocked when these numbers come out and we're supposed to be blown away every single time? The market at this point, it's like if it doesn't completely exceed all the high expectations, then it ends up being a bit of a ho-hum. That being said, when I look at DRAM, it's at a support spot, right? It's pulling back into the 50 period. It's pulling back into a prior support, bounce level, I suppose, more than a support level. You look at things like this. You look at in sympathy where Micron is at, down that 5 points. It's at the 50 period trying to hold on to some support. Now, I think this looks a little bit weaker than DRAM in particular. I think I'd feel a little bit better about DRAM holding that low than I would about Micron, but they're on the precipice here. And I almost feel like the bigger event too that maybe isn't, I'm sure it's talked about enough, is it's not an IPO, but SK Hynix, when that ADR comes over and it gets listed, that's just more capital that's spread around into this just absolute mega space, which has been blowing everybody's minds for so long. And I think we're past the point of buying the exuberance, I think. So that's what happened with Samsung. You throw in a little SK Hynix at the end of the week, then maybe that just gives even more reason for some selling to start to come in. I like the chances for DRAM, the ETFs, better today to catch some support than maybe an individual name. I think, this didn't completely break down. You still got this sort of 59 bottom in here in the 50 period, more so. But yeah, sell the news and selling because of SK coming at the end of the week. I think that'll be pretty exciting to be able to trade that name. But again, it's not really an IPO, if people can be invested in it already. But it does help to weigh and provide some sell pressure, I think, for some of the memory chip names. People are just starting to look for that top, and any excuse they can get. CapEx, numbers not impressive enough, they'll take it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about DRAM over the last week. It's one of Joe's favorite names to discuss. And today I'm going to be taking the short side of DRAM. I don't want to try to think about it too hard here. There's $63. I just wrote it down. It's for the first time it's on the note today, between $63 and $64 for DRAM. I just think it's getting hit a little bit. We talked about with SK Hynix coming through and, just more liquidity in the space. It's going to dry up some of the options and available trade, things to trade are going to be more spread out, therefore less capital focusing on maybe on Micron or whatever. But yeah, it's been beat up. I think it's been really late to the game here, anybody that's looking at this rate now here today. But the story remains the same. As Sharif had mentioned, demand is still through the roof on all these products, right? And so as long as that keeps on continuing to be the case, I do think there's going to be some dip buy opportunities, but today the momentum is short. So I have learned a lesson trying to fight things like that. So we're going to wait to see about DRAM. I don't know why my 5-minute chart's not showing, because it stops at 645. I got to figure out that. But for right now, downside play here into $61. I'm just going to wait for a little bit of a pop to see if the NASDAQ wants to get going again. It just started to go, and DRAM went from 60 to 61. So if we can get the NASDAQ, retrace half of this, or, we'll see about a short. So I'm going to be looking short in DRAM today. And, part of that, Micron's now under $1,000. We can look up Samsung and have a look over there on the ADR, on the pink sheets as well. But there's Micron to the downside. Samsung's ADR symbol is, I'll get it for you in a minute here. Samsung pink sheet symbol. What is it? I don't, because that's something that we never even look at it.
I never thought about
ever. I know the 10 cents of the world and all that. SSNLF, is that SSNLF? No, that can't be it. SSNLF. No, Samsung. We might not even have it. We never even really talk about it. It's OTC is SNLF. SSNLF. PK. Yeah, we don't have that right now, so I'll have to SNN. SNNLF. Do I even have it on e-signal? No. Oh, SS. Yeah, SS. No, SSNLF. Anyways, here it is on the daily chart here for e-signal, and see, nothing's even showing up. So I'm gonna have to find out what's proper with it right now. You guys know what symbol it is there in the chat? Yeah, people aren't really putting in anything right there. But yeah, that's Micron for today. And then of course all the other ones, right? SNDK trying to go through as well, 1600. You know, that's high was what, 22 or so, I believe? Yeah, 23, 20, 22 and change, 23 high. That's pulled back to 16 again now. So has everything changed? I don't know. Marvell's, you know, we recently were lucky enough to get some out at 330. I mean, obviously we don't get out of a whole bunch, but now that's down to 230. So you're down $100 on there. ARM's trying to break through $300 today as well. So there's lots and lots. Yeah, SSNLF. Yeah, we don't have it. So I don't see that one. But there's ARM again trying to hold on to $300. I mean, that should be an interesting level today. So there's some names that are here. It's just if we lose these levels, I think you'll be happy to be short.
Look at Nvidia.
DRAM ETF. Yeah, I mean, Nvidia down to 190 is a problem.
Ooh, that is definitely a problem. Nvidia is on the precipice. It's only 2% down, but there's that 190. Forget about these dark pool wicks, which apparently are still a thing while I was gone. No, but you're losing that 200 period moving average. And if 190 goes, look out, Nvidia. So yeah, you're dragging a lot of things down with you. You know what I haven't seen this morning, or maybe I just wasn't looking hard enough? Where are all the small cappers that are running? Was that not a thing last week? Like, I feel like we're still in the midst of, I guess after PDT, where you'd get like so many of these crazy 100%
Yeah, we're talking about that with Luis.
But really this morning, there's like, I don't know, there's that C-pop again, and then that's that pop culture or whatever, like that penny stock, it's gonna do 1 billion shares. There's one of these today that's gonna do well, it's not 130 million. I probably shouldn't give it credit for 1 billion when it's only at 100 million. But let's just say it's going to do significant volume because it's a penny stock. But I haven't seen too many other ones. You let us know. What are you watching this morning, Sharif?
Question, Neil. Let's load up the old scanner here. Go line by line. CRNX, that's the buyout you and I spoke about off camera. TDTH, breaking down below the volume weighted average price, but the number 2 gapper in the market right now, trying to reclaim $3. SUGP had a nice little move up there, nice breakout early on at around, I believe, 8 or 7:30 into that 120 area, but it is losing VWAP and about to lose the $1 area. Last but not least, BJDX. This was a early market mover right at 4 a.m. Best it could do was 210, now breaking down into 141. So I got to agree with you, Neil. The pickings are slim today in the world of small cap gappers, Adara.
Well, then let's look here at some of these larger names, including GOOGL. We're going to talk a lot of Meg 7s, I think, as we head into the bell. But I think Google is certainly worth noting, as we do here. They're investing in Fusion Play in Europe.
They are, Adara. 411 million euros, about $468 million. It's a financing round for a Munich-based company called Proxima Fusion. You know, this is part of Google's hunt, of course, for carbon-free energy to sustain their data center infrastructure, make no bones about it. But look, this price tag was just not in isolation. It actually was programmed to be more than 400 euros so that they could unlock some federal money from Germany. So under the terms of a memorandum of understanding that they have with the state of Bavaria, I guess they call it the Free State of Bavaria, I don't know why. In any event, if the funding round exceeded 400 million euros, then that would unlock 1.2 billion euros in a secondary national subsidy from the federal government. So this was strategically planned. Not much more here, Adara, to talk about other than some of the technical differences about the type of fusion reactor that they're using, but I'll save you guys the details.
It's still interesting that they're getting into that fusion space. I do also want to let you guys know, if you see the headline, President Trump is already on Truth Social, now posting about Toyota moving from Mexico to the U.S. and saying, quote, tariffs at work. So he's on Truth. Google investing in fusion. How are you guys feeling right now?
Yay, fusion. I'm telling you, man, people have been talking about fusion energy since I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like abundant energy possible. Everyone's still using boring old fission everywhere. But you know what? Like ultimately, we know, forget about the fact it's fusion and it's maybe waiting for a much larger breakthrough in practicality. I think the more important thing is it's just underscores the fact that power is still going to be very much in play, and everyone's recognizing that, and they're still having to spend out for more and more power. So I think, understandably, that's going to make a lot of sense. Appreciate you, Adam James abroad. I'm back, but are you still out abroad? Like, when is Adam James home? That's what I like.
Adam James inbound.
Adam James inbound. Adam James at rest. Adam James with his feet up on the couch. Adam James is always abroad enjoying life, and we appreciate you. But I don't want to be negative about Alphabet here because I like Alphabet. But to complete that thought, if you're being real about it, like, this has been successive bounces on Google, which just sort of failed right in here, that 50. And it's on a nice run going back into this 370 to 375 area. Like, it's like, look at the run. It's been a great run. Now all of a sudden you can tell me they're making, story of CapEx investments just as you're starting to crest that 70 level. It's kind of a big turnaround point for Alphabet. I don't know if it's there today. We'll probably need to pop $7 or $8 in to get to that resistance, but I don't know. That kind of feels like it ran nicely into the spot, and no one wants to hear that they're spending more money. What we do want to hear, though, are some options plays, because Joe has been on the desk, but he's always ready to be at the screen to let you know about some options.
All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the activity from yesterday's session. We're going to kick things off with Tesla at this $420 marker. Guys, we're at the money here, right? We can just identify that by our delta, but let's actually take a look at the open interest and the volume. So we're sitting around 12,400 contracts at that specific level. And then as for open and close, we're sitting on 30,000 flat. All right, now there's a $30 spread. I wouldn't be surprised if this tightens up a little bit. This was third on the most contracts traded on yesterday's session. Only ahead of it was the NASDAQ sitting in second place, and the SPY with around 400,000 contracts open and closed on yesterday's session, all right? So now as for this delta metric, guys, we're sitting around $51, okay? So you're not at that one-to-one. You'd have to be a little bit more deeper in the money in order to have that direct one-to-one ratio. And that's why at times people are like, okay, well, why is my options contract not up as much as the underlying asset? Well, it could be because it's not in the money, and your delta is something that you want to keep an eye out on. All right, so your gamma exposure is relatively light, and your at the money IV sitting around 50.8%. Now, as for the contract itself, guys, at one point it was worth around $19 here, so $1,900, and then proceeded to lose the majority of its value, about 85%. But a couple of days before expiration, right, we're going to be looking at the 10th for our expiration cycle. From this bounce right out of the open, you get 270%, and that's what I was talking about on yesterday's session, just the fact that sometimes it's better to wait, especially if you're playing with these nearer dated expiration cycle contracts. If you happen to get that big pop, you don't want to hold on to these for too long, because if you had bought it on Thursday's session, that gap down, you lose the majority of its value before the open, and then you wait, but it didn't recover. But instead, if you were patient enough to grab it, then you would obviously have the benefit of getting some of that substantial return. Moving forward, we're going to look for a bottom here on NVDA. We're south of this right now, guys. As you can see, the underlying selling off with the Samsung earnings report. DRAM down as well too, guys. Open interest at that level, the $190 strike price, sitting around 22,000 contracts. Now, the next support system that I found was $180, but the open interest still relatively cool. Now, as for the volume, guys, 14,100 contracts there, and the bid and the ask, we're sitting on a $3 spread. You see the difference between the two? $30. $3, okay? So that's where things can get a little bit expensive. Now, as for your delta, this is, before the close, was closer to, or it was out of the money, but now it's going to be closer to in the money after the open. You're going to see your delta metric change and the value of this contract change also increase, right? Because you're selling off this put contract is going to increase. Now, as for your gamma exposure, you're sitting on $3 and your at the money IV around 39.3%. But let's take a look at the contract itself. Once again, you get the gap down, you lose the majority of the value, but then it slowly starts to recover as the market prices things in. We'll take a look at some more upgrades and downgrades momentarily. Let's send it back to the desk.
As always, killing it, Joe.
Yeah, no, I was like, I just wanted to bring the story about Toyota because we got that story about them sort of onboarding into the United States, and we're not really getting any action on it. It's still only 10,000 shares. But if you're going to look, and, you know, we've had traders on the show before that had, you know, sort of recommended Toyota. It just got crushed over the last couple months, right? Same kind of ways that we've seen a lot of these. Rivian today down. We'll talk about what Rivian's up to in a minute. I'm sure that'll be on the list. But here it is, man, 245 all the way down to 170, 175. Yesterday we had some good comments about Dell, and that started to rip up before fading out a little bit at the end. But why not get some Toyota Motors today, as President Trump's already truthing about it, and just seems like there's a nice opportunity for it to come back up through its 50-period moving average. So Toyota Motors definitely on one as well. And then we will talk about Rivian missing. They're raising. So they're raising another 75 billion, I believe there. How many shares it was? I'll find out about that. But there, yeah, here it is right here. The company's also offering 75 million shares. That's what it was. So yeah, downside there on Rivian coming through. 75 million shares, including 11.25 million underwriter options. So there's a lot of sort of, you know, coming out of the Rivian share price right now as it becomes diluted is the word I'm looking for there. We did have a question there about Micron. And that was that you're stuck up near the top, right? I mean, so you've got about $30,000 worth of a position right here. And, you know, we're not going to be we are not financial advisors, but yeah, you're kind of caught in the high side of this trade right now. I mean, you know, you're long at 1150, so you're kind of long basically at all-time highs. Similarly, coming back into the 50-period moving average. You know, we've seen these names, you know, make moves like this in the past. Like even this move from 460 down to 360. That's $100 right there. This past, and this happens like once a month, it seems like. There's another one, 473 back down to 337. That was pretty violent. And that was during, you know, the run higher. And then right even into here, 812 down to 670, you know, 1080 down to 870. And now you're just part of this one, 1200 down to 930. So yeah, it does suck. It kind of does leave me in a little bit of a bad position here, you know, being long some of the AI names with you. But yeah, Micron, if anything, we heard again, more demand coming from Samsung. So I would think that there is an upside play at some point here. But to say it's going to stop anytime soon, I don't really know. And if you're caught and it's a big position, which it kind of is, $30,000, depending on, you know, where you are with that, you could get out now down that 20%, which kind of sucks. But maybe trim a little bit if you're nervous. There's really not too much to say other than, you know, you probably bought it. If it was for a swing trade, hopefully you have an out plan.
Well, that's the thing. But if it's for the long term.
I mean, if it's for the long term, you might want to buy more. But down 20%, I think 20% we've seen these dips happen before.
I think that's the thing. It's done 20% dips in the past.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
it's like
6, 7 straight down days.
The time that it doesn't bounce after it, you know, hits that 200 period or 50 period, I think that's the one where you get a little bit more concerned. Yeah. Maybe we're in that, especially with SK Hynix coming into the week. East meets Westy Bestie. Shout out to a viewer here from TikTok. Welcome back. Appreciate you. And welcome everyone back every single day, where you're coming from TikTok, YouTube, doesn't matter where you are. You know, we're here for the viewers. We're here to cover the markets, let you guys know what we think, what we see. And I know we did just have an economic number. It's a small one. It was a trade good balance, but the market's not really moving on it. A lot of times, you know, if things hit at 8:30 and we're expecting it to be a biggie, we'll go right over to it and let you guys know. But that trade good balance did absolutely nothing here. The NASDAQ was down 0.9. It's still down the same 0.9, and not much has changed. But we're pretty light on economic data.
But we're not light on TikTok right here. What's up to Kieran over here? Shout out from Kieran from the UK.
Holla.
So Neil just got back
We're in
from
the UK.
I was saying that was one of my favorite trips when we were in London. I preferred it. You know, Rome was great, Paris was great, but I really enjoyed London. Thoughts on Hood. So there's lots of stuff coming through here. So welcome everybody, whether or not you're on TikTok, whether or not you're on YouTube or anywhere. We have that chat up. Shout out to Bravely as well. Keep those super chats coming in. And believe me, we will be going over many different names here today, including some Palantir, some Robinhood, some SoFi, all of those exciting names that continue
Robinhood's on the list for
every single day. Yeah, Robinhood trying to push that 120 again. SoFi trying to push 19. So there's lots of good stuff happening right now. Neil's back. We're happy with that. It's 9:34. No early guests today. So lots of stuff to talk about through the rundown. And Randy just went to go check if breakfast is here yet. Ooh. He seems to be very disappointed. Randy moping around. Hopefully he comes back and
he wants some eggs and bacon.
Is it going to be that eggs. He wants some eggs and bacon. That guy put a mound of bacon on last week. I was surprised.
I could go for some bacon
over there. Yeah, some bacon would be nice. I didn't get any lunch. What was the breakfast yesterday, anyways? I didn't have any. I don't think. Oh yeah, that's right. It was hard-boiled eggs.
Oh.
That's right. We saw that yesterday. So we'll see what it is today, and hopefully Randy comes back. Hopefully with a coffee too.
That'll play.
Hopefully everyone's having their coffee and whatnot there today. SpaceX trying to make another move higher through. So yesterday I have the sticky note is now out. It's now posted. I wrote down on this note, and yesterday SpaceX was a top stock again yesterday. I think every day we're looking at SpaceX. There seems to be some kind of opportunity there. Today I have two ideas. One is the 155 long or the 161 long break. But the problem here is, and we're talking about the add into the NASDAQ 100, and 155 is pretty sweet, man. I mean, if that ever comes in anywhere, that's what we had yesterday. We had the short 160 on the break. We traded it twice. First, we went long. We won a little bit on that one. Once we went long again, and it lost 160, we went back into the red or relatively flat. And then that second break right here around 130, we did it for you guys live on the midday show. That was a break lower into 155 where we had a couple covers down there, and it was an easy cover because we had that bid coming through. So right there, 155, we're going to try to take that long. Or I just wrote down a 161 break. It could. I'll take 162. Let's just see where it winds up opening up. I basically just wanted a pre-market high break, and it was looking to me like that 161 could come into play from yesterday's close. So we're already up there. So I really like SpaceX. We will talk about that, I'm sure, as we get going here as well.
There was that IPO you were mentioning. Had that one?
What, Bending
tradable?
Oh, I didn't take it. No, it actually did the exact same thing. It's funny that you say that because it did the exact same thing that that SpaceX did. You see, it opened up
and then wicks the bottom.
Okay, that means it's here.
Oh,
okay, here we go. It's sausage, not mounds of bacon. Oh, it's those little quiche things. No. Okay, that's not bad. I don't mind those ones. I don't like the pastry with the quiche, but those things look like the egg bites. But yeah, no, Bending Spoons opened up at $31. I didn't take it. I wasn't super interested in it. It does break the 31 early, goes down to 30.70, and then basically rips higher the rest of that day, and it's come back in. So we'll wait to see if Bending Spoons has a trade. I've written it down on the list for 36 the last couple of days, but it hasn't. It was actually this day. I think it was Wednesday we looked at Bending Spoons, but 33 is not bad. These guys take apps.
Looks like an interesting...
revamp the app there. Italian companies, you can't really go wrong. CCHH, $4 million float. So here's another one, I guess, that you want us to look at.
Small cap.
Yeah, thanks for all that shout out. Well, that's Adam. Okay, so he's looking at this breaking $1. So I'll have to wait to see if CCHH goes. And yeah, there it is. So this might be the one. You asked what Sharif was looking at. Here's another one here. CCHH. And yeah, it does have that. What is that top right there? 170. Wow, you'd be happy if you got 170 today. That's for sure. But there was, before we zoom out too much, these last couple tops that we just broke through is 60 cents. Then you got up to here. We just touched out back to March at 80 cents. So watch out for the 83 mark right there. CCHH on the move here today. And I guess we can I can look it up in Google or Benzinga or whatever, but we'll get the story there on CCHH. And then the other one, of course, was a perennial name that we seem to be talking about once a month, it seems like. CPOP with 140 million shares. And just got a couple pops and then a couple drops. And hopefully you guys have been watching this for long enough to know that, hey man, we're not sitting around and holding these shares, you're just trading them. So we'll have to wait for CPOP a little bit later today. But if
you want to hold something.
Yeah, Apple.
Then Daddy from TikTok.
Okay.
With more than some extra D's in there, but that's all right. What do we think about Apple? We're at an all-time. Well, I don't want to say we're at an all-time high because technically not yet, but today seems pretty reasonable to me. The market's down, Apple is up, it's showing its relative strength. When the AI names and the chip names, the memory names sometimes look weak, these guys stand out a little bit. I know they're starting a little extra CapEx spend, but another chance for a breakout of the highs here on Apple. Obviously, it's put in a lot of work the last couple of weeks. It wouldn't surprise me now that you're tagging this level, if we're talking about today, now that you're tagging this top, which is about just under 317, you have like a consolidative or maybe pullback kind of day. That would make some sense when you get to this high. But all that matters is you put in a higher low after the fact. But like this could literally top here, dip into 300, and still look very, very good. Structure, fantastic. I think a lot of times they're just a boring name. And before I left, we'd have multiple times we would put up these polls like, what do you like out of the Mag 7 when the Mag 7 were weak? And nobody's picking Apple. And yet again, Apple goes back to the highs. And even though it's the one that not everyone seems as excited about, which is shocking to me because it seems if everyone's all worried about the top of this AI play, like why wouldn't Apple be more appealing out of the Mag 7 names? I don't get that. Because to me, it seems like it would be the safest one in the group. But is what it is. Ball ain't lying on this one as it heads back into this top. So
I mean, the thing about Apple is they have the monster buyback. I mean, they're just a great. When you make the products they make, it's just it's a forever buy, right? I mean, you want to buy dips, you want to be able to try to hold it through these moves. It's a small little dividend, but there's at least something there. And yeah, the share buybacks pretty much aren't going to stop. I mean, instead of buying companies, and spending money in capex, they're rebuying their shares. The Apple float has shrunk. Okay, so that's the other thing. Unlike
it's always shrinking.
Yeah, because they're always buying it back, right? So unlike Rivian today, offering 75 more million shares. What up to Scott there in the chat? We want to give a big shout out to Dad's Market Status as well. Talking about paying dividends. Welcome from TikTok, right there. Dad's Market Status. Talking about dividends. But yeah, Rivian down 11%. I think this could be a buy opportunity. I mean, if you missed the boat on Rivian, kind of breaking through right there, all you've done is come right back into its past breakout spot of this $18 mark. Maybe a little lower, if the market doesn't like this, but they're producing the vehicles, man, and they're rolling them out. My kid sent me a TikTok yesterday about this guy reviewing the Rivian R2, and great reviews. Obviously, it's probably mixed reviews. I should try to find a negative one. But yeah, nice downside play there for Rivian, coming right back in. But with the wife taking the Model 3, the Tesla, to Oshawa today and using full self-drive the whole way, I'm pretty sure she's going to be wanting a Model Y at some point. But yeah, we're gonna wait to get the Rivian. I can't wait to test drive the R2. Let me know in the chat if anybody else has received an R2 or been into one. That should be exciting. They're not here yet in Canada, so that should be an exciting look there as well. All right, man, 842 right now. A couple names we just talked about. I'm pretty sure they're going to be on the list, like SpaceX.
I'm sure Rivian will make the
all
list.
Of that.
Apple probably not on. It's not in play per se, outside of the fact that it's so close to the all-time high.
Yeah.
It's not like it has a story.
We have. The last 2 days, Apple's been my number one stock, so I put it back on the list. We'll see if we can get some dip buys in it. But hey, the NASDAQ's trying to go higher right now, so we'll see if we can break through some of this pre-market level and then maybe even get back up and see. We're not going to test 30,000 today, but we'll see if the NASDAQ can get going upside 300 points away from 30,000. We'll see. I guess it's possible. See if NASDAQ can get back to zeros by the time this market opens up. And then we don't have. Was there too much news today on the list? There was we don't have anything. We had
there was a trade balance
at 8:30, which
there's like maybe the 3-year comes out at 1 o'clock. There's a bond auction, but it's pretty quiet in terms of. Look, it's stock specific. It's really just the memory chips. It's going to be about that. It'll be about SpaceX. Obviously, Rivian has its own individual news. You can't really avoid that. And we talked a little bit about Alphabet raising money. No, but it's a relatively light news day. That being said, you see who's to right here over the shoulder. So anytime news does hit out of nowhere, like maybe right now, Dara's going to have it for you. We got Fed speak today. Oh, come on.
It wasn't on the calendar. That's because he's on Fox Business.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of times, if they're speaking at some kind of event, it'll be on the calendar. If they're speaking for some kind of news outlet, if they're not going to be on the calendar, as such, this is a Fox Business interview. But yeah, just a couple comments coming from Feds Williams of I believe the Bank of New York.
Okay. Yeah, I guess they're not in a quiet time at all right now. We actually did talk a little bit about the Fed, and we're going to throw it back to see what stories you guys want to talk about in there behind us. If we just we don't want that Java death guy over there. 25% now chance of a rate hike. So 75, 25, and that July 29th is coming quick. So 3 weeks away right now. So we are going to get into a quiet period pretty soon for the Fed, but 75% chance that we just stay chilled out. And then depending on what the task force says, Kevin Warsh and Task Force Company will be looking at a possible rate hike. And then into September, it gets even more frothy, where it looks like we will have a 50-50 chance of no hike or yes hike, and maybe even 2 hike by the time September comes around. So there's a little bit of an opportunity here to see where these numbers go. More economic numbers before July, right? So we still going to have to get the CPI, PMI, and all that, and that should set us off one way or the other. We'll talk today about trade and military things. Yeah, I mean, pretty much this is what this guy talks about all the time.
Military things.
I wonder if he'll talk about, soccer, or, maybe there's some injustices there last night. I don't think so. Will he talk about Palo Alto, though, or CrowdStrike? CrowdStrike does the 4-to-1. Pan W just, wow. I mean, what a mover there. It's not all just in the memory space, man. This has been a double since May. A double since May. It's July 7th today. So, wow. Palo Alto, a major, major mover here, and one that always helps out the old account. And maybe it's time to get some out of PNW. Probably not. I like the space, and I like what we're talking about with CrowdStrike. There's some other names that may be a little bit more depressed, Fortinet and Zscaler, but right now, PNW and CRWD is a tough one to show on our charts. So I'll show it on another one because we just got the split for CrowdStrike. But look what it's doing today, up to 202 right now, CrowdStrike, and there it goes, man. That's hitting those highs. And even from May, 119, actually Palo Alto outperforming CrowdStrike in the same period. But yeah, we really like both of these stocks. Up to 202 today is CrowdStrike, and yeah, really starting to go higher there in the space. We talked about getting the hack ETF. That's a hack if you want to get all of them. But all right, from one position back there, we just talked about Sharif and Adara, over to the board. It's the market upgrades and downgrades with Joe.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the NS actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with Broadcom at the top of the list, actually getting a downgrade by Erste Group here. You're down 2.7%, going from a buy to a hold, and no specific target there, guys. Adobe, once again, on the downgrade. You're down 1.9% here, going from a buy to an underperform with a $190 price target. B of A. Don't mind the typo there. Now, Cisco also getting the downgrade, guys. No specific target. You're positive 0.6%, but going from a hold to a sell. And then we have American Airlines also getting the downgrade, going from a buy to a hold with a $19 price target. That's actually up from $15. Now, to look at some more positive things, Meta getting the nod here, going from a hold to a buy, and no specific target, once again, by Erste Group. And then we have Regeneron up 0.6%, going from a hold to a buy with a $185 price target. Cloudflare up 0.5%, going from a sector perform to outperform, and a $300 price target. That's up from $225 by Scotiabank. And then we have DR Horton, guys, going from a neutral to an outperform, up 1.3% by Zelman Group. Those are your NS actions here this morning.
Yeah, I mean, again, as we sort of talked about a little bit here today, not much in the way of, Cloudflare could be interesting there. If you want to look at NET, N-E-T, that would be another name to have a quick little look at. They're up to 247. They're starting to go higher there today. The name that, we always get questions about and, just waiting for it now, Meta at 600. I mean, this to me looks pretty good. We traded at 600 level yesterday. We got in, we got out. It was basically a flat trade there as it broke up into 602, then faded back into 599. But the fact is like we held this 599 area, and we now have some of these top, kind of wicks to talk about. So, a dip down in here, I don't know if it's the most attractive looking stock today, but it's up in a down market. So I think Meta's just been beat up probably a little too much. We talked about what their PE was yesterday of 18, I believe it is right now for Meta. So that's, I remember, Sharif will remember this as well. The last time Meta was like a screaming buy, I thought we were, 15, 16, 17 on the PE. It was about $100. And then it just ripped, all the high heavens. We've got a great trade on that one, as I think many of us did. But, it's not looking super, sort of, I don't know. not opportunistic is the word I'm kind of looking for a word. It's kind of just stuck in the middle. So whether or not we break above this 640, I think we'd get a little more excited if that would happen. So I think that's something to talk about there. We did talk about getting Amazon with another note today. So, they're trying to go out there and raise. We've seen Meta go out there and raise. This is not affecting Amazon really at all on today's, action for them, corporate action there. So on the raising of more debt, more money, they're adding some more debt. As we said, not really kind to Rivian. It's been okay to Amazon, but Meta's been just kind of floating around here, man. I don't know. Like yesterday, we had that big dump into 582. The fact that it's at 602 today, that's a nice $20. I like this long back here at 600. It's a little too early to make that like a super call, but we'll watch Meta today for sure. Like around that 600 mark, good news happens. Meta, we've seen the spike up, man. We've had $15, $20 winners on this stock, and because it's $600, definitely a place to look at. And Joe's not on this show today; he'll be on the midday, but he likes to trade FBL. So if you have a little bit less capital sort of restrictions to yourself, or more restrictions, go into here, $23 name FBL. Goes just as well as Meta. And, obviously, I think this is FBL is what, a double? Is that right? Or it's just the same? Yeah, 2x long. So 2x long on FBL today. And if you're going to look at $600, it kind of pairs out to the same down here, 2350s or so for FBL. So another look on that one. Yeah, Wannabe Trader talking about some puts right there. Shout out to Bravely there on TikTok. And here it is again, Carlito's Way. Great movie, and glad that you're watching today. 1 penny as the super chat for that one. So good morning to you as well, and welcome everybody that's here. TikTok's starting to pick up a bit, so we want to welcome everybody on TikTok.
Look out for Benny Blanco.
And yeah, you got to watch out there. Carlito's Way, another great movie, man.
So underrated.
There's so many good ones
top five gangster films
from that era. Yeah, for sure. And we have this is not from that, but we do have. We're reloaded.
That is from Carlito's Way.
That is, that's right. That's when they're in the bar.
The pool hall scene.
Yeah, exactly. In the pool hall scene there for Carlito's Way. Many people think it's Scarface, but no, that's Carlito's Way. So, all right, we'll go back over to the desk there. 8:51. It's getting on in time here. 40 minutes till this market opens up.
Let's talk a little synopsis. This is not really moving in a massive way. It's a lighter volume name for sure, but this story is really interesting. Reported by Reuters that they're going to be exiting their chip fab manufacturing control business.
Yeah, there are 2 specific areas that they're getting out of to focus on a higher margin business. The first one is the equipment engineering systems, and the second is the fault detection and classification segment. And they're leaving it. They're pivoting away from this for the physical. They're pivoting away, I should say, from the physical factory to chase the high margin automated chip design business. It's a kind of a corporate reallocation of resources after they acquired ANSYS for $35 billion, looking to focus more on that. Engineers are going to be freed up from those former positions, and they're going to be put into an agentic AI design architecture teams. And they're racing to kind of lock up elite programming talent to scale these tools. So, another company here, Adara, looking to do what is in vogue.
Yeah, that's a synopsis here for synopsis. Are you looking at any of these fab names or even SNPS itself, Neil?
Well, so SNPS is not one that you'd consider for day trading. I don't think. At least most people probably wouldn't. I know Adara likes the spready names, which may not always have the same amount of volume. But what's crazy about this, what this name is, it's been under a lot of pressure, right? And we're talking a lot of things have been relatively weak, but when you look at the just sheer volume, like it's good volume, and chop losing the 200 period, downward sloping 200 period moving average, like it just has not looked good for this name at all. And when you see it, like it tries to hold, but like you've just made another rejection of the 200. So even on a little bit of a push up, I get it. It's up a point. You got the market's down a point. You want to think good here, but it's hard for me. It's hard for me to look at anything but all of the resistance and like a heavy weight on this name, almost like an anchor. And you really see it in the price action. So this feels like it's telling you short of the pop till proven otherwise, back into like the like it's about 65, 460, 465, right in and around and just above that 200 period moving average. One of the things that I feel when everyone's thinking that the stronger names are top heavy, you're looking for other places that you can go that have been beaten up. But that just doesn't mean that you try to bottom pick everywhere. I think it's still more along the lines of find something which has shown you that it's made a bit of a bottom, which has shown you that it's starting to put a bit of a curl and some higher lows, or maybe got a catalyst that it's responded to positively. So in that vein, if we end up, and I'm not saying we will, but if we end up with 1% now on the NASDAQ down, turning into, say, like a 2% kind of day, and Synopsys is able to hold these gains, maybe even get up a couple of points, well, that could change the opinion, but it would still be in a downtrend. So you're just looking for signs that it's trying to exit, which I have not seen any here. So this one looks like a pass for me, for sure. And I know we're getting a lot of symbols people throwing in here, like, is Oracle going to catch a bid? Someone just mentioned there, and someone just asked about SMR as well. One of the things I want to remind all the viewers, when you're putting symbols in this, with a dollar sign, it makes it really easy, not just for us to be able to pick it up in the chat visually, regardless of where you're chatting from, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on YouTube, doesn't make a difference. It's just easier to pick up the symbol, and then we can get there on the visualizer and see what the top tickers are going to be, right? And it's not to say that these are the only names that we're going to talk about, but it just makes it a heck of a lot easier for us to be able to, sort of curate everything and go from topic to topic. Because we'll look at what we're trading, we'll look at what's moving, but hey, there might be something going, or something of note, or something of interest that the viewers, you guys all want to see or discuss, and we're not there unless you guys let us know all about it. I just saw Figma in there. That's one I haven't heard in a while. We've talked about the cybersecurity names. Yeah, but Synopsys, that's going to be a hard pass for me. Don't like that chart at all. Ooh, that's what I didn't get. I got my breakfast. I looked over and trying to grab the refill on the coffee. Oh, the coffee.
Oh, the coffee.
Yeah, because I'm already finished the first one practically. There's a little bit left in the Yeti here, but
yeah, I didn't have enough hands.
No, it wasn't a hint. Randy's like, was that a hint? I'm like, no, it's not a hint. I was just literally saw the coffee. I'm like, oh shoot, I need a coffee.
I'm good for one.
That's all. Randy just pokes his head and he's like, I'll get it. Appreciate you, Randy. Oh, we got a super chat in here. KLAK and lamb. We love some lamb. But remember, to make chips, you need machines. And when there's demand concerns, when there's like, oh, this is the top, things are going to start pulling back. Well, these guys have been rallying as if everyone's just going to increase spending forever. They're at the forefront. It doesn't, whether you're talking about Lamb, KLAC, you could be talking about ASML, though ASML was a good deal just recently again. We could be talking about AMAT would fall into this category as well. They've been ramping, they've been trending higher, but the second you start to show signs that this is, we're not believing that this growth is going to continue forever, yeah, they come back down to earth. These are not normally stocks that trade in the way that they have. So like Lamb is a good company. It's not accustomed to moving this way. I think most people that have ever owned it will probably think that. You're losing the 50 period all over the place. Lamb is another name which is searching for a bid in the most recent pullback. You've seen it pull back before, and it looks really bad here. But if you go back to when it was at 260, like this stock pulled 260 to 190. So it did lose over 25% on a dip going back into February of last year. So it's done that before, and when you look at the 440, well, that's about a 25% dip. So it looks extreme from a dollar value, but from a percentage point, this is about the area of pullback it's done before. You get concerned if it consolidates here and then presses lower for a lot of the technical charts when you're looking at a lot of these chip names. We said that with Micron as well, and oh, that's right, KLAC is not going to be split adjusted, so that chart's going to be a bit of a mess. But you get the general idea. When you pull the 20-25% back, the concern comes if the next leg is also down. Then you start to feel as if we're in a bit of a different situation. But it's 8:59. Wow. Looks like we're about half an hour now till the market opening back up here on SpaceX into the NASDAQ 100 day. Although, everyone knew it was going in, and There's also the lockups that are going to be expiring, so that'll provide some pressure in the other direction as well. Let's get to the desk, talk a little future, get into that free watch list.
751.25, guys, is where we close out on the SPY. That brings us to only 1.25% below all-time highs, and it also pushes us back above that 750 key area of technical resistance we've been speaking about. We're barely above it right now, though. So the SPY is down 0.14. We're at 750.25. So the first level of support we're looking for is to hold that 750 level. We don't have to hold it on a strict basis, but that is what we're looking for, that key area to hold. If it fails, we're looking right back at 745 as the area of support. We use that area as a key area of support over the last few days. If we start catching a bid, Adara, we're looking at 755.
Before we catch a bid, you have to understand what is moving in the first place. You can do that with our free Trader TV Live watch list. How do you get this watch list, you may ask? You can use the link that's going to pop out here. You can type that right in and get that watch list. You can also click the link in the description. It will provide you info with what's moving, what to keep an eye out for throughout the day, economic events, earnings. We've got it all. And again, it's free. Let's start with a group here that was at the top of this free watch list today, and that's going to be these memory-related plays. Here's Micron, DRAM, another one to look at. We already talked about how these really were leaders in the blue ocean in terms of amount traded, and there's a pretty good reason. It involves these preliminary Q2 earnings from Samsung.
Yeah, ridiculous earnings, guys. I mentioned this at the top of the show, but it bears repeating. In Q2 of this year, 2026, Samsung made an equivalent, of course, in won, but equivalent in dollars, $58.4 billion in profit, not revenue, not anything else in profit. That eclipses all of their profits for 23 to 25. So that is causing a lot of fear, Assassino, amongst analysts that we are getting into an excessively frothy state when it comes to RAM. And when it comes to, obviously, the margins that they're charging some of these companies. Should also mention that perhaps a little weakness in Samsung stocks, which is having an effect, of course, on some of these North American semis, because the whisper number for revenue came in a little bit light. So they printed 87.3 trillion won in revenue on the quarter. There were buy-side whispers between 90 and 100 trillion yuan, Adara, but semis all week this morning.
Keep an eye on semis, keep an eye on memory stocks. Which ways are you guys looking to trade this type of story today?
Well, I hate to say it, but looking southbound here. I like the names that have lost the 50 or the 200 more recently, and will look continuation, as opposed to, like, say, a Micron, which today is losing the 50 period on the daily. It's obviously this is going to be a sympathy play, but it kind of goes beyond that, because this market has been almost seemingly looking for any indication that it's gone too far, like it can possibly grow like this. And once again, you heard from Shreve, you get these record insane numbers out of Samsung, and then they sell them off anyways, because somehow, like, the whisper numbers are like that the pie in the sky, the big expectation numbers were missed. And so that's what we're reacting to. So you end up here in the midst of this. This is a bit of a bigger pullback than some of the names we were just talking about, like Lam and such, off of the highs, but it is still trend down. As I said, I prefer the things that are maybe like lost. Nvidia's lost to 50 already. It could be losing that 200 period as we speak. If that breaks down the 190 today, I think it's in a world of hurt. It could even pull back, bounce, and you've got 194 prior day low. Which would give a nice resistance level. And I think that I looked at the structure here, and one of the names that came up to me was like, well, you're already in a downtrend on Intel. This is something Adam and I we're at the Naval Museum running. Adam DeLue is one of our viewers here from London, and we're at the Naval Museum. We end up talking stocks because you have to. It ended up happening. And one of the things was looking for, if you like a space that's weak or a sector or a theme, sometimes you can find the name that's already trending in that direction. And that's what kind of leads me to Intel, just looking at the last couple of days and strong selling on the stock, because specifically it tried to bounce at the open, hard fail. Tried to bounce at the open, hard fail to get back to the lows. So that sets it up for a nice pop and fade idea out of some of the chip names. And right back, there's prior prior close and support at 122 on this name, and then you've got like the pre-market high, which lines up with this support at 119. So I like this one from a structure standpoint for pop and fade, but I am thinking short on the chips. It's just not specifically in Micron, but I think the sympathy here in Samsung, it's pretty real. It's real until proven otherwise, at least.
I asked, what people are looking to trade today. A-Day Trading, what's up to Luis?
Hello.
A response, SNDK. We got some Microsofts here. SoFi, SpaceX, OnDis as well. Palantir and Micron from Dane. So go let me know what you guys are looking at there on X. But yeah, SanDisk is another one of those names that is starting to drop down through again. So I think, I'm choosing DRAM. It's on the list today for me. Any kind of a pop-up, we want to short this thing. So now the 200-period moving average is at 62.50. So looking for a 62.50. We definitely want to have this one on radar for today. And sometimes these markets just get a little over their skis, and meaning we know that there's interest here. We know that there's going to be a lot of money floating through for SK Hynix coming in on Friday. I think a lot of this sell-off, it's kind of like similar to what happened to Rocket Labs and Astera and all that, and Sidious. And as we get excited for SpaceX to come, there's some money coming out of some other names in order to free it up to look at SpaceX and start to trade that name. So I wonder if some of that's been happening as well. But for DRAM, right back in here into $56, we could be getting some kind of a dip buy opportunity at some point there. And hey, this is going to be hot at some point again. So we're going to have to wait. Just it seems like there's a shift, and we've talked about, getting into J&J, getting into the banks. Like all of this has worked out perfectly. So, when this rotation is on, you can see some other winners. I mean, we were talking about J&J down here at 220. It's now at 260. You don't really get those kind of moves from J&J, but there it goes right now as you're just getting a switch up. They're reporting, I believe, July 14th or so for J&J. So that name's starting to go. So there's a lot of rotations happening in this overnight sell-off that continues throughout the day. So you got a dip buy opportunity yesterday in J&J. You're not getting it today. But again, Samsung, all these names, I think we're just getting a little too excited about it. Great numbers, great quarter. And even AMD, I said the other day to Joe, I was like, oh my God, I really like that Intel. If that can come back in. AMD, I think, does need some reworkings of the price, because if Nvidia is getting hit as hard as they are, we just talked about the 200 period, that's $300 for AMD, right? You're up at $530 right now. So there's a lot of room to go to the downside here on advanced micro devices if you weren't all rose-colored glasses about the space. So I would say watch out for an AMD short, down 4.5% today.
Take a look here at SpaceX here. SPCX just beat where, guys, President Trump is still talking. That's what I was listening to. He's speaking in Turkey. But SpaceX also could be in watch and probably speaking to a lot of investors. It's its first day as part of the NASDAQ. And we also did get that official SpaceX AI rebranding confirmed last night.
Yes, absolutely. Elon taking to X to unveil that. But let's talk about their 1.3% weighting in the NASDAQ 100, despite an over $2 trillion market cap. There's a reason for that, guys. So let's talk about it, because there had to be some math at play here. Because their float is unusually low, we're talking about 3 to 5% of public share pools, NASDAQ's rules actually prohibit the full valuation from dominating the benchmark. Instead, the NASDAQ calculated what they're calling a specialized index-specific market cap of closer to $300 billion to anchor its weight to that minimum threshold of 1.3%. So interesting exceptions here. We already saw exceptions being made for SpaceX to allow it early. Now exceptions with respect to the float, something to think about there. Also, supply dynamics will change violently in about 30 days' time when SpaceX reports its first quarterly public earnings. It's going to be August 6th of this year. There's also going to be localized insider lockup provisions, which activate that legally unlocks about 20%, guys, of internal insider holdings onto the open market, which could dampen a little bit some of the passive buying we've been seeing by these index funds. And last but not least, Adara, because the NASDAQ 100 is a zero-sum index, cap-weighted systems, especially passive tracking funds like the triple Qs, for example, they must actually pro rata liquidate an estimated $4.3 billion of existing mega caps that they have. We're talking Apple, we're talking Microsoft, Nvidia, all to free up cash that's required to absorb their new SpaceX position. So possibly some weakness in those names as well. Watch out for that.
Yeah, SpaceX, you're getting price targets all the way from $200 to $800 by analysts this morning. I also quickly want to mention this little, as you can see, a little bit of spike volatility here in Amazon. We know we're hearing reports they're going to be trying to raise roughly $25 billion in a bond or debt issuance here. David Faber of CNBC saying that Amazon has told underwriters this will be their last debt issuance of the year. Just be aware here, guys. More Amazon-related debt issuance comments coming. How do you feel about SpaceX, though?
The analyst who's got the 800, give me a little something of what they're having for breakfast. I'd like, yeah, give me some of that, because they're probably feeling real good. I don't know what their timeline is on that, if it's any short.
It must be long.
It's got to be a really long time frame, Sean. For all good fun there. The SpaceX, just as Shreve said, just because it's going into the index doesn't mean it's like, yeah, Rapid has to be bought up. Small float means it's not as big a percentage as you would think. The lockup expiration does mean there will be some downward pressure on the stock as well. But in the event that we get dips, this turns into a stock now that I kind of like when it shows you a support level, because that'll give you an indication, hey, there's some inherent underlying buying going in, and in theory, you should be able to see some of that show up on weakness. So but it already has a double bottom from last week. And yesterday, like to end the week, 155, 156, and then it showed a double bottom there yesterday. So, let's kind of try to keep it a little simple and want to look for the long up there, long down there, down in front of yesterday's low. So that's the support level until the 150 gets tested, and that was the issue price. So that's it. There's that, and if it loses 155, I'd probably just wait for 150 to look for a long, which was a great level when I left and managed to hold it the entire way. So I'm kind of looking at 155, 156 is like not proxy level, but the next best thing until that one is gone. And when it's gone, look for the dip at 150.
Look, this is what yesterday's SpaceX trading looked like for me. We went long first at 160. That was great. We tried to go long again, then we shorted, and that was wrong. So, basically 1 for 2 and flattish on that. Then when we broke the 160 again, they're at 130, as we talked about. There was the break lower on SpaceX. So we took that 160 breakdown, and we actually, this is early, this is only the first couple minutes, it does get down to 155. So that was the trade yesterday on SpaceX, was a very good mover. I did have to edit this SPCX, they're 155 long or the 161 breakout. So, excited for that kind of a trade. It's written down here right now, 155 long. I'll post this up. You guys can go have a quick look if you are interested in some of the other ideas that are on there. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it's rocket science. A blind man can see this 155 to 156 area. So I'm going to try to wait for a dip buy opportunity that comes through, or I'll just buy this 161 break. Like, I'm still fine with it. I wrote down 161. I know we popped through to 161.20, but that just gives me more reason to go long, to be honest with you. Like, I think we've hit up here, obviously not much volume. As this market continues to open up, we'll see if people decide to short here. I think that'll be a mistake, and we'll wait to see if SpaceX gets going. Upgraded, price target 30% higher for Goldman. That's all. I don't care about whatever that $800 one was. Goldman right now as an underwriter, put it higher. We'll wait to see what winds up happening with SpaceX today, but I like the 161 break, and it's been my #1 stock of the year, and it's only been around for 2 weeks. So it's been a great stock. We'll see if we can continue to trade SpaceX profitably here once again today.
We already talked here about the preliminary earnings from Samsung. Time to talk about preliminary earnings from Rivian. But before we get to that, we have more preliminary results, this time here for DOCN. This is DigitalOcean, expecting Q2 2026 results here at record levels. Remaining performance obligations expected to be above $800 million, which would represent 10x year-over-year growth or greater. So more preliminary earnings results. Let's get here, though, to RIVN announcing an offering in addition to prelim Q2 earnings. Not very well received today.
No, Dara, 75 million share public offering, raising approximately $1.5 billion. Let's talk about the dilution aspect of this, and then we'll talk about why they did it. So the dilution aspect is there's going to be a 6% equity dilution for current shareholders. It's going to raise the share float to 1.44 billion shares, and it also offers the underwriters 30 days to buy an additional 11.25 million shares should they so choose. But a lot of this, Adara, has to do with a $4.5 billion Department of Energy loan. And under the terms of that contract, certain requirements had to be met in order to get the first tranche in 27. So let's talk about that. When you look at their SEC filings, it discloses that to unlock the first loan advance next year, the company is actually contractually mandated to achieve and sustain positive gross profit margins for specific periods prior to the first draw. So the share sale was aggressively timed to build up what they're calling a defensive cash cushion in case the early R2s sales of the early R2, I should say, don't actually meet the testing and temporary delay that margin flip. So something to think about there. They're looking to do this more as a defensive kind of posturing Adair rather than for CapEx, which was what we've been seeing lately.
Yeah, and again, the preliminary results here aren't too bad here. Q2 prelim revenue between 1.55 billion and 1.65 billion. That's going to be above 1.3 billion in the prior year quarter. So RIVN, do you think this continues to drive to the downside today?
It's really feeling like it wants to. 11 points now. I think part of this is, I know the preliminary numbers were good, but it had been 2 straight days of just monster upside. Like it went from effectively $17 to $20 in just 2 sessions. That was on the heels of a week before that being at underneath $15. So it had already put in a pretty good ramp job, and then look what happens here. It looked like, hey, you're finally breaking away from this 18.5, 19 area. And once again, outside of back in December, late last year, you look like you're failing it again. So until you can prove that there's buyers that hold it above 18.5, when it does, lots of strength. Like look when the buyers are winning above 18.5, you find some support, some consolidation, and then a breakout, but you're under it. It's that 18.5 zone on the daily chart. If you're not busting through that, then it's a sell in front of it. So like maybe it holds on for a couple of days, a higher low, and there's a long break through 19, and it can continue. But for today, yeah, don't break 18.5. I'd be thinking the short side, at least until you were testing somewhere in here, like 16.80, $17 for support. But Randy, I mean, Rivian's been a rocket ship, so.
Their cash burn is the biggest problem.
Yeah, well, cash burn is a big problem, and the fact that rates aren't going down anytime soon is a problem.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way as you guys. I think that the more they keep on raising, I mean, they're losing billions of dollars every year, billions, and that's not great, right? And so if they can't start to turn this thing around, they're just going to start raising cash and producing these cars on the back of shareholders, right? And that's fine. I mean, as long as you know that story, it's been the story for a while, and it does have the ability to get to the high side. That 11 million shares that are still to come, that could create some more down pressure. But I think this is like a buy, 1650, somewhere around here. See if we get that support at the 200 period. It's been pretty good, right? I mean, although we've had these dip downs, I feel like Rivian does have a chance to go back up to the upside. I don't want to trade it long today. I think the news is short. So we'll wait. If you're going to look for a short or look to maybe break out, it's 1850 right there right now. So their history of just execution delays and not being able to roll out as many cars as they had hoped. I'm hoping that with the R2, that can spike through. They just had their release on June 7th or 8th, I believe, in the United States, or maybe it was the 23rd, something like that. But Rivian right now, nice to see the cars out there getting some good reviews. But yeah, the rate thing is interesting too, because with EVs, it becomes more expensive here to the parts apparently to put into these Rivians are a little more expensive than they had thought. So prices are starting to tick a little bit higher. And then you get the tariff worries as well because it's made in the United States. So if this is going to get shipped, anywhere outside, plus you get the Chinese EV competition coming, that's going to be more important here in Canada and Europe. But those are 2 big markets, right? And so we'll wait to see if Rivian does, get the onboarding correct and they're able to produce as much cars as they need to in order to turn somewhat profitable on a per vehicle basis. But right now, losing billions and raising more money on the back of shareholders. So it's not a great feel here for Rivian today.
META, big penalties could be on watch here as 4 states to this company. 1.4 trillion could be the penalty here. That is almost Meta's market cap.
Yeah, exactly, Adair. They're alleging multiple states here, we'll get to that in a second, that Facebook and Instagram were designed specifically to addict younger users and mislead the public about the platform safety. California, Colorado, Kentucky, and New Jersey are bringing the suit. They're bringing it under consumer protection laws alongside the federal Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. The headline is pretty aggressive. Meta says it's without precedent and it's unsubstantiated, but the analysts here looks like they're treating it as legal overhang because it's still up on the day.
You guys know I've been looking really hard lately into the state attorneys general and how they sue public companies. This is a pretty significant one here, guys. Again, Cali, Colorado, New Jersey among them. How do you guys feel about this META look in the short term and maybe even the longer term?
I mean, I like Meta.
Look, I guess I'm probably not worried enough when you start to hear that number, but 1.4 trillion, come on, that's not happening. I don't think, but it doesn't mean that there couldn't be something significant that's down the pipeline. You would like to think that a lot of the weakness, at least some of that, has been priced in, but most of the issues have been more around the capex and lack of, generating cash with the capex. So here's what I would think. You're better off in Apple. I think that goes without saying at this point. But then you could say that with Apple to insert any other Mag 7 name. Right? Like whether or not you think this is some kind of a straw that's going to break the camel's back, particularly, it doesn't have to necessarily be, because Meta's already in a bit of a downward turn for other reasons. And yes, they are saying the right things because now they're going to look at a cloud business for some of that extra compute. So another way to generate money. Yes, they are looking to charge and start to raise with monthly fees for things like Instagram. So I think they're doing some of the right things and pulling the right levers. None of that has gotten it out of its downward trend yet. So until we're, like I say, holding the 50, breaking the 2, something that can prove to you that you're out of this malaise, then I'd feel way better. Again, like one of these is not like the other, and Apple is just a Mag 7 name that I think you're a little bit better off with. Okay, right, fine. It's at the all-time high right now and might have a little bit of trouble pushing through because of the rally it's been in. But at least when it dips, it follows it with a rip. And it's only a matter of time before you're feeling good about it again when you buy that name on the dip. With Meta, you might buy it on the dip and catch it good for a couple of weeks. But after that, it's making a lower high, and then you start feeling sick about it. So until the headlines start getting a little bit better for Meta, we actually see some real cash generation from some of these new endeavors. I think it stays on the bit of the back burner.
Some of you are asking for the sticky note and speak about Meta. It's right here. You can go on Instagram, and it's part of a story. So every day we're putting out them as stories. So you can go over here, have a quick little look if you do not subscribe to X, as some of you had mentioned there in the chat. So head over there, take a quick little look, and I just put it in the chat, the Instagram link. Yeah, yesterday we took 600 long. It was fine, but it didn't really do anything. So we got out at 5.99. So it was like up $2, down $1. Wound up pretty flat on that trade. Didn't really do much into the close either. Must have been a sell imbalance there as we got hit from 603 back down to 5.99. I think it's well worth. Did you say coffee? Is that what that means? Yes, would love it. Yeah. Thanks, Randy. Yeah, 6 bills basically for Meta. I think it's kind of stuck in the middle on a daily chart, but I don't mind all these. I mean, there's always going to be stories, man. I remember when they put a little phone book there, so Zuckerberg could sit on it when he was in front of Congress there. This guy's been in front of Congress for decades. And I just feel like, there's going to be more talk about the inappropriateness and, all this kind of stuff. But the fact that they're now selling that compute power, I like that. I like the fact that they have some kind of a subscription service now as well. So I think Meta can get going. I mean, it's, disclosure. It's a pretty big position, I guess, that I have in it as well. But, I mean, I'm in all of the Mag 7 names pretty much. So Meta, just one of those names. And, let's see if it can get going here. Very disappointed, obviously, in the Mag 7 performance over the last year. I mean, when you're looking at other names, I mean, even just to buy the NASDAQ would have crushed the Mag 7. Like all these things would have absolutely, this has been, if you go back, these stocks really haven't moved. This is September of 25, where the basket of these Mag 7 stocks lasts. So, you're all the way back. It's almost 1 year of absolutely nothing. To look forward to, and some of the names are actually looking like they're breaking lower, right? Including the big dog there in Nvidia. So thankfully we have Apple. Microsoft's been disappointing. Google's trying to get back to those highs. So there's some winners and some losers in this space. Amazon's trying to get going back higher as well. But the Mag 7, very, very disappointing. And I hate to say that we called it, but we had mentioned that this year was not going to be a Mag 7 year, and just got to hold out. I think at some point they turn themselves around, and I'm looking at you, Microsoft. I think that there's a good opportunity for them to get back above that $400 mark and made that low around 360. So I like Microsoft there. No surprise, Office 360, maybe the low there for Microsoft. We'll have to wait to see, but yeah, Mag 7's pretty disappointing this year. 5 minutes left. Walmart has been very disappointing, obviously, the last little while, but we'll see what the story is and if it can get back to the upside.
Yeah, quickly, we'll take a moment to shout out a friend of the show, Origenics. They just made an announcement this morning achieving full activation of Phase 2A trial network in Australia. There are 3 sites now enrolled. There's the Mackay-based hospital, Alfred Health, and Royal Adelaide Hospital. They're now active and enrolling for this trial. They've actually already had the first participant enrolled in the Alfred Health base. Let's also talk here about their FDA, submission here. Type B meeting request has been submitted to the FDA for Origenics. That advances their pathway here to U.S. regulatory approval for their ONP-002 treatment. So good news here for Origenics, friend of the show. Let's take a look now at a post from U.S. President Trump on Truth Social involving Walmart. WMT, we have this post, and then about 25 minutes later, they announced the price cut, that President Trump alluded to in this Truth post.
Yeah, absolutely, Adira. But this does come amid a sales slowdown for Walmart. So a lot of people trying to make those connections. Let's talk about it. No suggested that Walmart's U.S. comparable sales may have slowed, and that does put consensus expectations at risk unless there could be a trend improvement later this month. Also, keep in mind that President Trump did roll out about a $500 million financial support package for smaller meat packers that are struggling with escalating beef prices. Well, why does that matter? Because that was one of the price reductions President Trump touted in his Truth Social, the reduction in the price of ground beef by Walmart. Just some companies, for your own information, that are going to take advantage of this subsidy: Tyson Foods, JBS, Cargill, National Beef, and even a Brazilian company called MBRF Global Foods. So just to put it into context here.
Yeah, it's also worth noting Walmart says they did the price cuts because, quote, customers count on Walmart to deliver the value they need every day, and summer is no exception. This is coming from the EVP and Chief Merchant of Walmart US, whose name is Julie Barber. I also want to let you guys know, seeing reports here from UK MTO, this is basically the UK Maritime Transit Authority. They're saying that they have reported an incident involving a tanker that was transiting through Hormuz. If I get more details, I'll let you know.
Yeah, a small spike in USO on that there, but I think we're kind of past the point where we're reacting very heavily to things that happen in the Middle East. And again, we'll keep our ear to the ground for you as always. You know what? I think, look, passing it, I'd rather they pass on costs to the best of their abilities. And I know, Walmart, when they drop prices, is going to be able to withstand much better than the competitors. That's always a good thing. But if you look at what this stock has basically done since the big breakout, and the big breakout was in 2024, it has had 2 major dip buys. And the first one held the trend on the monthly chart, and then boom, bottom there. You just tagged that this month. So this candle this month is bouncing off that major trend line here for Walmart. So it's at that bouncing spot. But I think it's more of a hold than anything else. It's still a bit expensive. I think closing this month above that line is going to be very, very key. Holding under that one, it'll be about 105 to 110-ish that you're going to have to hold on to for them. Adam James abroad for the 862nd time. And second super, CLRO is a micro float that you were looking at.
Yeah, CLRO, one of those. And I say, well, we will have to look at it. One of the reasons why, there's many reasons why we like Joe around here, but Joe actually stuck his neck out and called the bottom for Walmart there. So, yeah, it was a good call down there at 108, 109. So shout out to Joe for that one as you continue to make a move higher there. I like the stock. I think it does work down here now that it's been hit, pretty dramatically, right? That's down 20% there in about a month and a half, which is a lot for Walmart. I don't know if it deserves that. So, yeah, I think this is a good buy. Finally, time to maybe get into some Walmart down here around 110. Of course, a recent addition over to the NASDAQ, which is why our chart does not show that. And I just think, I think a better name is Costco, but a little more expensive for the day trade for sure. $5 gap. Costco trying to make its move back higher. Very similar move down in Costco over the last little while. You can't ever find a Costco that's not really packed as far as the, the lineups and the, the parking lot and everything. So Costco continues to work, especially as people try to trade down, get cheaper gas and all that. I know they don't make a lot of money on the gas side of things. I have Palantir written down here as the #1 trade idea. It's coming right in though, right? The NASDAQ's coming in. Palantir is not a stock. I wrote down 133 to 132, and that 133 is not, that's the closing price. That's not where we're necessarily sitting as it's coming back in. We do not want to get railroaded. The other day, Tesla fell $20 straight to the downside. Definitely Palantir looking at something like that. Yesterday's not 20, a couple bucks. Yesterday's VWAP hold was 31s. So, 131.50 or so looks to be a decent area right now. And I still like 132. We're going to have to give it a second here as the market's getting ready to open. And we do have, some of those imbalances to look at here to start with. It's nothing of too much concern. SOXL as a sell, Nokia, Pfizer. Yeah, it's kind of limited right now. We'll look to see if we can make a big trade right off the jump. It's SpaceX is where I'm going to be looking. We'll see if we take down that 161 or possibly get long at 155. We do want to thank VinFast for the continued sponsorship of the opening bell. Thank you, VinFast, and go check them out, VFS, on your exchange. But here we go. SpaceX right now, 158, 159, trying to open up. Little choppy on the quotes early. We talked about that. That's what happens around here. I'm in debug mode, so we can get that all figured out. But here comes 157 coming back in right now for SpaceX. We'll give that a little bit of a shakeout and see where it winds up as a tree shaking right now on SpaceX. And then Palantir, once we can switch over to it, we'll show that to you. That's at 133 as well.
Yeah, one name that we didn't really talk about, Bitcoin holding nicely at the well above 60,000, at 63,000 now, and catching a bit of a bid. I like this sucker at 35.3 to 35.4, but I'm not even sure we're going to dip that far to the downside. You already mentioned SpaceX. I like to dip by if we can even catch it. Was looking short pops. Oh, that's right, I can't flip. Was looking short pops over there on Intel, and you're going to see immediately market goes up, Intel goes down. Now down 6% and still falling like an absolute rock. Micron also losing the bid of the bid. I'm going to have to show you guys black charts because can't really flip over yet. Lost a bid, but right back to pre-market low. So a bit of a bottoming tail candle forming over here in Micron as the market's trying to bounce a little.
Yeah, 133. So we, unfortunately, it does go down to 132. We don't have quotes in the first couple minutes. So right there, 132. We could have got long. We should have. That's the level that we wrote down there for Palantir. So that's an epic fail. It's the #1 trade idea that we have written down here right there. 132 to 133 for Palantir. So you can see that name has come in and now gone. You could have literally got long at 132.10 there, or 132.25, which is generally where we will sit. All right, SpaceX 158. It does make a move down to 157. Again, we could show you the sticky note again, but we're waiting for 155 down there. I'm bidding 156 on SpaceX to see if we get some love over in that name. And then as the NASDAQ making a move higher, DRAM, not really. I thought sort of DRAM might go on a NASDAQ bump there, but no, it is not. We'll have to wait to see if DRAM can get going again right there. Not much to look at. We can't trade Samsung or anything over here on the U.S. markets. There goes AMD. We said that this was the next vulnerable name for sure. It has not pulled back to the likelihood of other names. So AMD right now, I don't want to short these names.
Hood's trying to go green.
Yeah, I mean, the NASDAQ's trying to go, which one's trying to go?
Hood's trying to go green here.
Robinhood's been a good one.
It's been an absolute beast. I was thinking this would be a pretty safe dip buy here today, just given the last couple of weeks that it's been going absolutely ham. But I don't think we can look at the 111 bottom. Market's not looking weak enough here. Maybe play into, I'm not taking a breakout on this thing. Then maybe look back into a 116. Forget about VWAP. It's too early for that. But any pullbacks into the 116, which can give us some higher lows to work off. This has been very, very strong for sure. So yeah, it actually just went green on the session there. Robinhood, as Micron continues to try to battle off of these lows. If we get a pop, I want to look to short the first available pop if I can in Intel. Now down 8% or 7.5% here on Intel. There might be a secondary play. Maybe look over at Nvidia because this has almost gone too far to the downside. Nvidia's not moving.
No, yeah.
No, Nvidia is basically flat. There's no 190 break in store for this stock. Very sideways action for Nvidia here. So if it gives me a topping tail candle, it might be able to sneak into this instead of Intel, but that's now 8% down on Intel. Yuck, yuck, and yuck.
We had told you there was more percent down coming on Rivian, and that's exactly what's happening there. This is also a falling tree as Rivian now down another 4%, down 14% at the lows down there to 1730. We'll wait to see if there's a kickback in it, but with the market being negative today, I don't think I really want to look for a long there in Rivian. If I'm going to look for anything, and again, we can write down whatever we want. If we don't take it, we don't take it. And unfortunately, we couldn't switch quotes. We're going to get that quote problem fixed out ASAP. But Apple goes to 313. It's a level that we wrote down, but now it's coming back in. So here it comes again, Apple back into 313. Let's see if we can maybe take a little bit of that. I feel more comfortable taking some Apple down here than I do some Palantir. So we'll take some Apple first. I'll sit at 313.25, just ahead of that little wick down there. And I do want to give this to 312. So if we can break back down below 312. So we'll take an early position if we're lucky enough to get it here at coming in right now. We'll take a spot and then we'll see what winds up happening. Yesterday was a good trade for us. Oh, don't tell me Apple just bounces off me. Okay, good, we get long anyways. So there it is, man. The first trade of the day is Apple. We've got the long here at 313. Look, the market's coming in. So we're only going to put on, we have 3/4 of a unit right now. We're comfortable with that. We'll wait to see what happens around this 312 marker, waiting for a little bit more at 312.50 here for AAPL. But yeah, falling knife temporarily in this market as we just get 4 now candles straight to the downside. Some people want to wait. That's the first 5-minute candle now. So we'll wait to see what the market really has in store for us as we finally close that first 5-minute candle. And Apple trying to get into yesterday's close. It's trying to do a good job of that one. But we're long, and we're in the money right now. SpaceX down to 156.
It's getting close. It's getting real close to that 55 over there on SpaceX. I think it's got a real good chance of getting there. But I think the first name I'm looking for the dip by, still holding a lot of strength, is Robinhood. Now it's starting to break through 117. So looking for the dip back into this prior support at 116. Once we see a 116 handle, we're going to start to look for the long.
The position board's not working.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'm not in positions. I guess I didn't realize it. But yeah, about to get long. You can see here we're pulling back in that in Robinhood. So I'm about to get long here, hopefully at that 116 quarter land. And then we're able to take that to the long side. SpaceX is still falling. Oh, it just got to 156. I'm sitting right at support from yesterday, 155.5. So that's where I'm looking for the curl over there on SpaceX. But you might be already getting an early bounce. That Robinhood, I might have to take it off VWAP instead. It's still heading down, but yeah, I'm going to try to get it just out in front of that volume weighted average price. It caught a bid before that resistance, so going to try to mosey on in here in front of the 116.5 because that's where the bounce happened instead of where I wanted it to. But it's definitely relative strength over here in Robinhood. When I compare this to what's going on with the Qs, like the NASDAQ bouncing off, it broke the lows and now bouncing off lower lows, and the same thing over there in the ES. So some strength still in, I don't want to say crypto adjacent name, but the fintech sector, financials have been pretty good as well. And you're still seeing that with Robinhood. But the NASDAQ not looking good at all. 1 1/3% to the downside, even though we're trying to catch a bid here.
Yeah, finally trying to do something in this market. We'll see. Okay, there goes Apple's getting hit to the downside. So that's taking now down 312. So, in a name yesterday that was just running all morning, it finally stopped around 10 o'clock. Then it took off a second leg. So I'm going to get out at 311.75, man. If this breaks lower, we'll go reverse. There it goes. We'll go reverse dollar club as the market right now. We said maybe Palantir was a little safer. I guess not, as Apple getting hit back to the downside right now. We can have, I'm out at 311.75, so that's looking like that's going to break. Palantir, yeah, not coming in the same way Apple is right now, but we're still going to try to support those levels. It doesn't look like it. NASDAQ trying to bounce, Apple not really reacting in the same way. I'm on SpaceX, but I'm not there till O's. So 156 flat or so for SpaceX. I think we'll take a little bit here just in case it wants to do the bounce, but still waiting for 156. I wrote down 156 to 155, so waiting to get that 155 call as well to come back in right there. A nice little bounce back here. Let's take advantage of some of that on Apple. Maybe we didn't get it. I was trying to wait for 312. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. 312.50 there to take out a little bit for a 40-cent hit. But right now, Apple makes a move back upside and then just gets hit right back down as the market turning around again. We thought maybe we would get a little relief there, rally in Apple, but no, the market now coming right back in. So watching out to get stopped out on this one. And then there it goes, man. Now finally breaking through. Okay, there goes SpaceX, and there goes Apple too. SpaceX breaking back down below that 155 mark. So here we go, man. These are levels that we want to look at. We're always willing to hold this a little bit, but it's Apple that just got hit to the downside. So we got to get out, and we're not going to keep chasing this now. Market, wow, down 1.5%, giving it all back from yesterday.
Yeah, giving up all those gains. You mentioned SpaceX losing that 155. Robinhood tried to break 118. It just lost these pre-market highs, 117.5 a second time. So it's putting in lower highs. You can try to buy the dips here as long as it puts in these higher lows. But there's rejection at 117.5. Okay. It was a double top yesterday, so want to try to respect it. But at least it's somewhat strong relative to what's going on in the overall market. It's looking pretty nasty in the overall market. And here comes a bit of a recovery in Micron. Micron's back through VWAP. This is now a reversal. I mean, the open candle is going to be a reversal candle, and now you're busting through the volume-weighted average price. So what's looking like a bottom is getting made in some of these chip names. That would be the all systems go to look for maybe a DRAM over the volume-weighted average price. That never got, DRAM didn't really get to that support, that 59 bottom, but that just means it didn't test the absolute low, which is perfectly fine, in my opinion. If it can hold on to VWAP here, and Micron doesn't, it all over itself, this could be a nice little trend reversal. But even as I say that, the sellers start to bring it underneath that volume-weighted average price. So a bit of strength starting to come into Micron. That could be enough to get a close above the VWAP here on DRAM, but not yet. And as long as it's not true that we have enough strength, I'm still looking for that opportunity to fade here in Intel. 7% down. There was nothing that actually stood out about Intel in this, I guess, chip sell-off, outside of the fact that its chart just looked a little bit weaker than the others. I don't know why it's down 7 when Micron's down 5.8. Right? Like, it's supposed to be a memory story.
Yeah, you would think it's supposed to be a better story than that. Amazon, so we have another new position. We have two new positions. We have SpaceX, which is not new, but we're still in it. And then Amazon. Let's see what we can do with Amazon right here. I mean, we did have that offering. Okay, here it goes. Maybe now it can go back up this. We're just long here at 35. We'll take some out there at 55. Now we're starting to climb a little higher on Amazon, and we say thank you very much, Jeff Bezos and company, because look what Apple did, man. It's a good thing we got out of Apple, by the way, at 312 or so, break down. Now it's at 312, but it went down to 310.20 right there. Trying to battle back is Apple. All right, man. SpaceX flat right now. We'll wait to see what it's doing. 155. I should get a little bit out here in the 80s if we can. But it's been a nice move back upside there on SpaceX as it got clocked a little bit early to the downside. Let's now see if it can get going now. Upside, is there enough buyers in this name as we get added to the NASDAQ 100? And we saw a big move there. Like, there's a lot of sellers here. More offers than there's bids right now, it seems like, on SpaceX. But hey,
they're buying it.
We'll have to wait to see. Hopefully they start to buy it up. But yeah, we'll wait. We're in the 80s and we're at 156 flat. And then hopefully we get back up to this 158. But I don't know. It's not looking great. Amazon, a couple outs there, but just for 10 cents. 15 cents as we get out at 50. But yeah, Amazon right now trying to get back there to the upside. Lucky enough to buy some of those dips against 44.50. I think that's a good out if that's the space that we're looking at. And then other than that, man, it's just SpaceX and Amazon. And then, yeah, licking the wounds a little bit from Apple as someone sold off Apple pretty good there in the open. So there was a nice move down. And, yeah, we'll be red on that stock, but making a little bit back here with these other two names, but positions pending all over the place. You said Intel was down 8%.
I know, when it's trying to bounce
AMD
here.
Trying to bounce too.
Well, I love the market to bounce because that'll be good for SpaceX. I think that just tagged. Well, I didn't get filled on SpaceX. That's interesting. Okay, well, I didn't get filled on SpaceX at 150. Oh, we just got a little bit at 156, but we just came into VWAP here on Intel. So I took the first shot, but it's already busting through that 114 level. I'll get back to Robinhood. That's actually coming down as the market's bouncing. But if we close above 114 on a 3, I'll jump out even before you get to any key levels here. SpaceX did get a little bit of a bounce. We'll try to get our second leg on it. The first time it blew through 155, simply jump back in at the the prior day lows, because that's where we're looking for the support. But I like VWAP. So 56, 57, volume weighted average price. Going to try to keep it as simple as possible when it comes to that. And then just back over to Robinhood, because that's dipping again. Yeah, Robinhood still putting in some higher lows. I'm going to see if we can't get the next dip in here, though, on Hood. If it does another bottoming tail candle, I want to try to get another good entry off the 116.5 area. Hood did go positive like 3 or 4 times, but it seems to reject the actual prior close every single time. So there's a little bit of sellers at yesterday's close. If you can't punch through that, got to wait patiently for some better dip prices.
All right. Yeah, as you guys know, SpaceX, a big name there today. We'll keep on looking at that. But there goes Amazon right now. I mean, finally getting some love there for Amazon, back up through 245.50s and now breaking higher. See if we get 246. There goes Amazon. Nice look here, man. I mean, that was a good bottom pick for sure on Amazon. I mean, that came in, and now we'll just take a couple outs there as we get back up into VWAP. And, we hit the sirens when we're in new positions, and there goes Amazon to the upside. So starting to clean out a little bit there. And let's not get too greedy. I mean, the market, I'm going to get another piece out just above 246. There it is. Wait a minute. Did we not get that 04? No, we did not. We were waiting for 246.04 there. Missed us. I don't know why we put 04. But that's a name there that we like. Again, they were raising some money there today. Doesn't look like they're getting beat up at all. If anything, they're positive today. So a little bit of a rebound there in the NASDAQ should spike up again our Amazon trade. So, yeah, we have you guys know that we're trying to play around with SpaceX these days. And so we got on some shares, man. So we're going to wait to see here what's going on with SPCX, hopefully breaking back higher off of the exact levels that we thought could possibly hold. I just missed Palantir, so I think I'll get it eventually. I put a bid down there at 133.20s. It came in, I missed that 133. We should have got it. The first time it went down to 132, we should have got that right there. And honestly, it sucks because, darn it, man, that's a big move now on PLTR, right back up to the upside again off of some posted levels that we liked, man. I have it written down as the #1 trade, and I missed it right there. So there it is right there, 132 to 133. Again, on the note, it just came in. I put my bid there, and I was just too distracted with the other two names, but we're there now, so I think we could still get it. The market's coming back down
wait
in
a
just
minute.
a bit.
I think the position board is incorrect again.
It is. I'm long both those names.
Yeah. So my guess is what is happening on the position board is
it's
the fill, like the last fill. So if you sell some to get out of a position, it's probably coding that as being short. So my guess is if I get a fill on SpaceX, it's going to tell me it's going to tell you guys I'm short. I'm long SpaceX in front of the 155.
It still shows you long.
Yeah. Well, I think what'll happen is the second I take a fill, it'll probably be wrong at that point. But if we see what's going on, this market, it's trying to hold up. I mean, Robinhood is still putting in some higher lows. I like the fact that it's showing some strength. Is it fixed?
Well, yeah, because I took an out on Amazon and it did flip over.
Yeah, so still going to look to try to get some higher low bids here on Robinhood. I'd like it better if it could break out above 117.5, but until that happens, look for the bottoming tail wicks, hold the trend line. Once you lose 116.5, I think that'll be confirmation that maybe this is just doing what the overall market is doing. And I guess we didn't really we mentioned Bitcoin. IBIT didn't get anywhere close to some of those lows. This is actually breaking trend now. So I left you guys being pretty bearish on Bitcoin, but today I kind of like it for the long. So bear with me as it breaks the trend. I'll be long it in front of the volume weighted average price here. A bit of a trend break happening on IBIT. I'll get this in front of VWAP, at least if it does dip, and give it to the prior bar low from the trend break, which is right in here, about 35.68. So the NASDAQ about to hit the lows, and for the first time I can remember, somehow Bitcoin is bouncing first. Doesn't have to make sense.
No, Bitcoin was strong yesterday. So, we'll give you another one right there as we go dollar clubbing one more time. And there goes Amazon again to the upside. So I'm glad that we sort of switched off of Apple, went over to Amazon, and we're picking on that one right now. As that's going a little higher. I'm still waiting at 246.90. See if we get something around this 247. Highs of the day, 247.50. We'll have to wait to see if we can get something around there. Looks like we're losing the bid one more time here on SpaceX. Maybe this isn't that stock that we thought it might be today, but we have a bunch of outs here at 156. So far, so good on those outs. And maybe a little dip buy opportunity now into 154. I do have the stop out, breaking a little lower than where we are right now, breaking through that 154 area. So there's a nice little reload there. We'll see if we can put some out. Yeah, good job on that one as the face slapper right there on SpaceX. Dip buy a couple times down there, gets us longer, and yeah, let's go. We like those kind of trades. Get a little bit more out and see if it can go just a little bit higher now we're $2 in as Amazon. We're still waiting for 90s and we get it right there. So that's the hot dog cannon for you one more time on AMZN. So just switched up our game a little bit. We sort of, got hit there on Apple. We talked about that, and we never want to be in it for too long. Maybe Apple finally bounces off of that one, but have the ability to sort of, and we don't even have Amazon written down today, but it came into that 245, that pre-market low, and there she goes, upside for Amazon. Let's just hope that SpaceX can now take off. And, the missed trade of the day for me is the number one trade that I'd written down, and that was Palantir. So we'll see if that one can come back. If it does, all good over there on that. And I guess
I saw SNDK.
Still really like
OMG.
Still really like Intel, but
SNDK. SanDisk.
Yeah.
8% down now for SanDisk. Micron's down 6%. This is all because of Samsung, which obviously we don't really trade Samsung.
We can't.
Over here, we can't. We can't, but you can get exposure to it via DRAM. DRAM not having as bad a day as, SNDK. It's about the exact same as Micron, down 6.5% and looking incredibly. It looks incredibly weak when you consider 6.5% down, but the NASDAQ's at the low and it's putting in a higher low. So I still think there's a chance that DRAM can make a decent bounce in here, but not the way Micron is going. As I said, Bitcoin able to hold through VWAP and do this bit of, or IBIT, I should say, broke the trend, holding over the volume weighted average price. I'm just looking, if you can just get back to the high, I'm happy. So 36.15 or so, which, that's not that far away. Like, all it has to do is give me a half a point, and we can get into the target on that bad boy. And Robinhood just came back in, so it looks like we got another dip buy in Robinhood in front of 116.5.
Oh, good. Yeah, Robinhood's a good name. And also a great name here, Adara. What's going on with Little Miss Lily right now, up 4%, all-time highs. The number one name in my portfolio, non-tech, we like, SPN is higher. I own more SPY than Eli Lilly, but
yeah. We got a $1,400 price target here from JP Morgan. They raised Eli Lilly's price target by $100. I'm not really seeing any
That's good enough.
News here individually. They got a price target increase yesterday as well. So it seems like analysts are really feeling Eli Lilly, or Mademoiselle, as I used to call it.
I like.
Look for Lilly.
Yeah, I like Eli Lilly there. And it's just, there's Sharif and Joe know the name Reptide. What's the name of the Eli Lilly?
Reptuditide.
Rapture. The Rapture is in.
Is it Reptuditide or there's a U in there? There's a U in there somewhere.
It's definitely something like that, but we'll wait to see. And again, good pipeline here still for Eli Lilly. I actually look at these values. I mean, we love Eli Lilly, but I still really like J&J, and I like the potential there for Johnson & Johnson. So they're up another 4% here today as well. So I like both those names, Eli Lilly, and then especially, this goes back to when we had, Brendo and I were on the podcast, and we talked about ETFs that we liked, and I was really liking XBI. The podcast is now 4 or 5 years old or something like that. So we've really been... No, not 3 years, maybe?
No, I was actually there when this started, and I was writing some of the notes for it. So it concluded around May or April of 2024, started in the fall of 2024.
Fall of 2024. Okay, so we're coming up to 2 years there on the podcast. So yeah, so we've been liking this. Needless to say, down here at least, right? This is 25. So down $75, $80, but there it goes right now. XBI, new all-time highs. It seems like all the time for this name. Or you could trade the IBB. If that's so fancies. Is IBB a NASDAQ name? Maybe it must be. Yeah, there it is. So the IBB is something very similar.
You wouldn't think it, but it is.
Yeah. They're all most of the ETFs, right, are Amex. So, but yeah, here we go, man. It's a good thing we've got our good friend over here that's now a $3 winner in Amazon, as that's taking it out because getting waxed a little bit on SpaceX as that's coming back in. So probably taking an L here if it breaks. Well, we will be taking an L if it breaks through 154. No more averaging in. We've already got, we only have half a unit, so it's not the end of the world. But SpaceX coming back into 154 right now. We lose that. We're shablamo out of this name, SpaceX. There it goes. It just did, but we did not get
I set mine at the low of the day.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're out. I should be out very momentarily here.
Yeah, we'll stop to fail on these guys. You know what? You can't win every day you trade it. Last couple before we left, we're getting a lot better here. But there was one nice bounce. It gave you 155 to 156, but pretty much no more. And even as I say that, the NASDAQ just hit the low. Robinhood was just bouncing. You were just bouncing back above VWAP. So we've got another reload, a nice bull flag here on Robinhood. But I don't care how relatively strong it is. If the Qs keep bleeding the way that we are, 1.6 down, new fresh low just got taken out here. You look over here, the SPYs, it's not as if it's going to be any better. Oh, yay, Dark Pool Wick. The SPY's also breaking the LOD, so I'd be a little bit concerned here for anything, even if it's holding strength. Like IBIT's got a higher low, Hood's got a higher low, but the way that we're heading downside in the overall market, you really start to wonder if you're going to be able to hold on for too long, even in some of the stronger names.
Yeah, we are. I'm really surprised at how well Amazon's doing, to be honest with you. I mean, look where the market is. Amazon right now almost $4 off the lows, and this is really keeping my day afloat right now because lost on Apple, lost on SpaceX, right? And well, basically, what we lose on SpaceX will make up for on Amazon, so that's a wash, leaving us with our red day here on Apple. So yeah, well, we'll make a little. I mean, hopefully we'll make a little more on Amazon, but for where it is right now, we just don't want to get out yet. So unrealized gains there. But yeah, Apple coming to the downside. I really like Google as well. I mean, Google's been a pretty hot stock for a minute. I'm really surprised what Palantir, I mean, there that is. I'm really surprised on Palantir here, not coming back in at all. Check out what this market is doing. And Palantir right now is like, okay, we'll just go higher. That dip miss at 133 there is going to be pretty epic for a couple minutes for me. So it's too bad that that's not in the portfolio right now, but it's not. So it is what it is. That miss there on Palantir. I have to maybe update some of my scanners over here. Not really giving me too many trades right now. I guess it's because the market really hasn't retraced, right? I mean, you're going to get nothing at VWAP right now unless you really start to bounce. There's SoFi down 2%, so that's continuously bleeding there as well. I know that you were talking a little bit about Robinhood. That's coming back into 116, so maybe safer on Robinhood.
Yeah, but it just lost the bull flag. It stays on strength. We'll get. Thank you for the super chat, Dave. We'll get to Samsung, of course. You see what's happening in Micron and DRAM, but no, you just lost that bull flag that was going on in Robinhood. So even like one of the strongest names out there is starting to lose a bit, and that's the thing when the market is this weak. That maybe we haven't put in that. It looked like that was the dip buy right off the open, and you get some higher lows, but it might not be over yet. So just wait until we get back into 115 or so, or what forbid. 110, 111. David, Samsung beat revenue. If without 10% bonuses, you like the buy. I think you could have obviously done a heck of a lot worse in a lot of things than just buying every single memory dip that happens whenever we go 20, 25%. That's what we're sitting at. I'm showing you DRAM because obviously you're not going to be we're not going to be trading Samsung in here, and this is a good representation for most of the viewers. You can pick this one up and then you can own or you can trade. And get exposure to Samsung and to SK Hynix. Although on Friday, I believe as of Friday, you'll be able to actually trade the ADR for SK Hynix. Yeah, well, that'll make it pretty interesting. But more money has to come. That's just more money spread around. So that could cause some more selling, realistically, in some of the other memory names as money or capital funnels into SK Hynix ADR. It's not always perfect. A perfect scenario when you come to market, when you have whether it's an IPO, whether it's in this case just a listing where they're bringing it over, because it does have some like rebalancing effects to it, and that can have some sell-offs. And so they're looking for reasons to say this game is done. I don't think the fat lady hasn't sung yet until one of these bounces doesn't hold. And last I checked, we've already recovered nicely from this 2 or 3 times, especially in DRAM. So it hasn't broken this recent low yet. Still about $1 to go till you get to yesterday's, or not yesterday's, but last week's bottom. I can wait for that. The only place I was looking DRAM long was off of this low, and hasn't shown me a reason to get off of that level.
Yeah, big shout out. Yeah, there it is. Shablamo. Yeah, big shout out there for Joe. That's one of our sayings right now as we go. Shablamo, new word of the day over there right now. But a big shout out. Yeah, Joe's been doing great. Obviously, glad to have Neil back. Joe right now.
I love that word.
Not there. He's chilling out now. He'll be back for the 11 o'clock hour right now. But yeah, okay. There. I mean, Robinhood's losing it now. That's down 3%. There goes to the downside. The interesting name for me is Intel at some of these levels. We said that, hey, maybe if you're talking about switching back into something else, maybe Intel being down where we are right now. Watch out for this 112 break. I mean, we did get low into 111, but that's looking like a decent opportunity to even get shorter right now. I cannot believe how well Amazon's doing, and it's almost making me just want to get the hell out. I mean, we only have right now left on Amazon probably 15% or so. You know what? Because I'm getting those feels, and we talked about this all the time, you have to be able to trade on feeling a little bit. There it goes, man, 248.50. I'm going to get another piece out. So we have 10% left. Actually, still about 12.5%, 13% left on Amazon. So we just got out another piece there. We're going to leave it just for a minute, see if we can do some more work there on AMZN. Yeah, some of the names. We just looked at that Intel. Like, I was debating going short on this 112 break, but I don't know, man, down 1.6%. If there's anything that's going to bounce, this is at a bouncing spot. So I'm just kind of like debating, are we going to go long or short? Because this is looking to me like a great little level that potentially could get supported for the long right now on Intel. It's just fighting what we've been seeing, like going long in a down 8% name can give you obviously great returns, but that's still in a little bit of question right now for Intel and where it's at. But yeah, Amazon has pulled back a lot. That was just at 249. It's down to 247. So we got a bunch of good outs up here. But yeah, these ones, it's really trying to fade out a little bit here as Amazon. Like, we just took that fill right with you guys moments ago. And now you're seeing where we're at, man. 248.50, like down $1 right there quickly on AMZN. So yeah, some of these names definitely fading out pretty decently here as the market trying to turn around. But it's the DRAM, it's the Marvells, it's the ARMs, it's probably the Nvidias of the world that are really starting to kick it a little bit down here. So
Nvidia never broke the low.
Okay, good. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, Intel's still right there. What do you mean? What low? The pre-market low?
It didn't even come close to the pre-market low. It did the opening
it's
range
actually
bottom.
Doing fine.
Nvidia's doing absolutely fine.
We just got a gap there for some reason.
Yeah, it's got a gap down. AMD's not too bad either, but everything else is losing a bit. I had just gotten out of Robinhood, and then it dropped $2 almost instantaneously. So like the one stock that I like for strength doesn't want to hold on. IBIT doesn't want to hold on to any strength. So I'm thinking Nvidia really stands out at this point. I know it's 10 o'clock. You know what that means. It means we have to find out what's happening now. Yeah. And to do that, we got to go to Adair.
Hey guys, what's happening now is a whole lot of weakness in the market. Here's a look at the S&P 500. We did try to climb higher first 15-minute candle of the day, followed by a sharp sell-off. And right now, this third 15-minute candle bar of the day is poised to be another red one. Let's take a look here at the NASDAQ, looking very similar here to the S&P 500. They're trying to battle back. We'll talk about this tech weakness in just a minute. But let's also look at USO, which is very, very strong. We unfortunately have had more reports here of tensions in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran reportedly has attacked ships crossing the Strait of Hormuz on the Omani side. Also seeing some comments here from the UK Maritime Trade Organization. They were saying that reporting at least a couple incidences here of strikes or of incidences in the Strait of Hormuz with Iran. So just be aware, guys, the conflict does continue. Let's take a look at SpaceX, SPCX, making its debut as a component in the NASDAQ 100. Its first ever session trading as part of the index, getting a whole bunch of price target increases and analyst notes here from analysts, including this Deutsche Bank price target of 255. This is probably about the average price target I'm seeing from analysts, but then you've got Raymond James with an $800 price target. So analysts all over the place for the first session ever of SPCX as a NASDAQ 100 component. Let's talk about a different NASDAQ 100 component here. That's Micron. This one trading sharply lower. They're trying to bounce a little bit here at lows. SanDisk also in focus along with WDC. In case you guys missed it, we did have very strong preliminary earnings from Samsung last night over in South Korea, but they did lead to some more concerns here about spending and about AI overheating, specifically with these memory chips. So a lot of these memory names trading lower. Last but not least, analyst note here for FIG Figma. Nice gap to the upside, even with overall market weakness, trying to hold up relatively well, getting a $30 price target and buy rating from BofA Securities. Shopify also getting some love from BofA this morning as we send you back over to Sean and Neil. Make sure to give our show some love and hit the like and the subscribe if you're enjoying what we're seeing.
Thank you, Adair. And I got something for you, traders. It's an offer your broker ain't giving to you. Markets are extremely active, and if you're traders, this is the environment that creates opportunities, and big moves mean more setups and more momentum. But if you really want to take advantage of those conditions, you need a couple of things. You need discipline and access to capital. That's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, traders can access firms' capital and focus on executing their strategy while managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own personal savings. This is what's called limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, visit tradethepool.com. Want to shout them out and thank them for sponsoring this portion of the show, which has been brought to you by the market selling off as well.
Yes.
Currently, but that's what's actually standing out is like Nvidia is standing out because all of the other chip names are weak, and they are holding on to some pretty decent strength. I looked over at AMD, and that was still looking weak and not looking good at all. Micron, we already discussed. Sympathy to Samsung is down. AMD's down 7% here. So Nvidia's really, at least for now, been able to hold out a little bit better than most. DRAM, it seems at this point, you are really trending into this low here as DRAM feels like it does want to test this 59 bottom. It won't be 10% down if it gets down there, but it'll be pretty close. And as long as that level holds, we'll take our shot off it. Kind of like the only difference I want to make if it gets down there is on SpaceX when it came into the level, allow it to bounce the first time. I don't mind losing the second time, but that first long as it's still heading down. Like, let it show the buyers off the level and then kind of dip in. The second long was good. That's where you actually got the bounce. The first one just immediately kind of snags through. So if DRAM gets to that low, I want to be a bit more patient with that first available dip buy. But NASDAQ right at the lows, I think that means if you have a dip buy level that hasn't hit yet, you probably want to wait for it. And that's exactly where I'm at with DRAM and Robinhood as well. Like Robinhood still feels like it's giving up the ghost. So we'll wait down for maybe the low teens until proven otherwise. 15's looking okay, but I want to see confirmation and not just a little bit of buying in front of 115. It's not much. Just a little bit. No, I want to see that even dollar hold, or we can wait for a little bit lower.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the next trade. I mean, Amazon's coming back a little bit. We're still $2 in. We're, like I said, have 10% left of that one. For me on SpaceX, maybe this 154 has got to break higher. If not, it's too bad because I was really, when we got stopped out there, just like we did yesterday, was debating the short and just never took it. Like, definitely should have done that. All right, Alibaba and Intel even broke below that 112, so that was a good trade as well there, breaking lower. I mean, sometimes, you know, what keeps going, and right now it's that space, and the whole DRAM's actually not moving that much. Alibaba right now had a really nice move higher back into 100, and now is down about $1.50 from there. So it's high today, 99.80, back down into 99.40 as we wait to see on Alibaba and if there's any sort of recovery plays or whatnot for Alibaba right now. I mean, they just broke through and they've had a good, I mean, I'm glad we sort of talked about this when we did, because right now you're on a 4 or 5 day win streak here for Baba, and that name could definitely be something to get going as well. Rivian, let's have a quick little look at Rivian. Maybe found its home down about 14%. I mean, bounced off 17 quite nicely, and you know, no surprise there. That was one of the breakout levels. That was actually the bottom right into there of $17. So you know, we've seen it before. Again, like, you know, I think I like the stock, but I don't know, man. It's still that 11 million optionable there for the underwriters to exercise as well. So there's a few more shares to go. You know, they're raising on the back of 75 more million shares there. So that's a lot of money, and they keep on burning through. So something to look out for. IBIT just, I think, pulled into VWAP. I mean, right now, Bitcoin, not doing a whole heck of a lot, 63 and change. IBIT down 1%, maybe gets going, but again, nice little area bottom there for Bitcoin, something to look at. And then I still want to try to buy some Apple. I mean, Apple's been down there to 311. So we do know that if this market does bounce back, I mean, I think it will be on the back of Apple. So I don't mind that right now. The Treasury is getting hit to the downside as well today. The dollar going upside as the NASDAQ makes a move. And this is what I guess I should
just had a small cap or halt here.
Oh, was there finally a small cap? Well, INLF or that, or which one was it?
Well, there is a couple.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna look at the dollar here.
Yeah, there's that INLF, but that's a super small one that's halted. It's only done 500,000 shares, so it's really low volume. And then CLRO, which I do believe was relatively popular with the viewers in the pre-market, which we all know. I think it was Adam James Abroad was mentioning. I believe it was this one.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Adam.
CRO or?
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was this one, but it just broke out the highs. It's done 20 million shares. That INLF, 500,000 shares at 10 o'clock is not a lot of volume. Obviously, that goes without saying. But CLRO, this looks like it's got a little bit of legs to it. Just reopened. It has had a down halt, but it just had an up halt as well through the highs. Just remember, you've got this 12 to 12 and a half area, a bit of a bag hold from last July there could be a bit of weakness. So that's one to watch. I think it's probably the best looking one that I was able to see, at least so far. So good luck to you if you're in that. Feels much better than that INLF, which trades at such low volume, it'll probably halt a bajillion times today. So SpaceX, if it can't break, look, we're trending down. The market just hit another low. We're almost 2% down on the overall market. All you got is the 150, because you've broken our local support. You've got the 150 IPO price, not the issue price, but obviously the IPO open price at 150. That's already been supported. So without getting down here, it's going to have to break the trend to try another long. So I've slapped a trend line on it as we wait for the absolute bottom, but it is now holding at the low for a chance that this trend can break for another shot to pull this one back into the volume-weighted average price. But that 2% almost seems inevitable today for the markets. And you can blame Samsung for it. It's entirely, this all got started on sympathy to Samsung's earnings beat. Like it was a big record profits for them, and it just did not seem to matter. Not even a bit.
Yeah, I think you can blame,
maybe not all of it on Samsung.
No, I think you got to blame the retail environment, right? Because everyone bought these names up through the roof, and they have nothing to do but beat, and people don't like it, so they sell it off. I think it's just, some of these things have just gotten so hot. And there's the dollar as well. We talked a little bit about the macro situation. The dollar is also starting to get a little higher here, so we'll have to wait to see if that one starts to ease back a little bit with a little bit of a pullback now in the DXY, but maybe not. Hoping for a pullback to get some of these longs cooking one more time. Just for my next possible trade idea, we're going to try it, and it's going to be with Amazon, if that does come back in, and it's obviously talking about the same names there, but Amazon just came back into 245.75. I was waiting for 245.25, so that could be something that eventually pops through there. AMZN at some point. The NASDAQ itself, trading the TQs, would love to get involved in that, but again, no real bumps. If we do get something into view up, I think we could short the NASDAQ today as you're giving back everything it made yesterday and a bit more even right now in the NQs. So, being careful with where this is all going. A name that we looked at yesterday, Disney, again, below $100. Nice day upside for them. Still looking to fade it if we do get to that magical level of 100. So that could be a name, again, that we look at some point there. 99.50. What's up, Adara?
Did you pull a Magic Kingdom pun there, Sean, or was that just an accident? Magical level of 100.
Oh, no, that was purely by accident, but that's, definitely on purpose.
Okay,
no,
great pun then.
Thank you. No, I did not mean that. I just meant it because of, again, that was a pretty good one. Yeah, Magic Kingdom. No, I was just thinking that because $100 is such a key psychological level that if we get back up to there, I think it's a short. I don't think there's really too much great news right now with Disney, so we can have a look at that. And then, over at Netflix again, this is another big name, Netflix, that keeps on trying to bounce off that 75 level, and it looks like we're going to hold it here over the last couple of days. So Netflix right now getting back there to the upside Mindart chart there on that split, which is why it looks like that. I'm still waiting for SpaceX to break above 54. That's probably down a little lower now. Yeah, maybe now it's 53s. Yeah, 53 break maybe on SpaceX, or you're bottom fishing right now, and that's a little dangerous, I think, when the market just broke lows again right there to the downside. So, yeah, man, it's not the greatest mover here today in the NQs. The ES holding out okay, right? In the diamonds, the Dow was at all-time highs, breaking through 53,000 yesterday, and now today probably holding out okay. Yeah, it's only down 0.1 there. And we'll go over some of the broader moves and some of the broader markets soon. But yeah, right now, this is what we're talking about. It's a downside day here for everything chip related. And yeah, I just think these names got over the skis a bit. Micron down 8. Marvell down 7 or 8. ARM, I think, is also down.
Oh, ARM got trounced or trounced.
Yeah, actually,
trounced.
It's only down half what the rest.
Oh, I mean, while I was gone.
Oh, yeah. They had a nice bounce back up to 350, but yeah, 440 down to $300. Not great for ARM either.
Well, not a great sign here is gold was actually up this morning, and it flipped red. Now it's starting to turn. It's gone under VWAP. It's lost a prior high. It's structurally looking like a little bit of crap, if we're being real. You're not catching a bid. SpaceX doesn't want to break that trend line. It got close, but it did not do so whatsoever. So I think it's kind of a nothing burger till we get to 150. Looking over, Robinhood's still falling. hasn't shown me any sign that it's looking for that bounce. And the hood's down 3 points. It was going green, but to keep in perspective, the reason why I still feel like I can be bullish on this name is the daily chart. It hasn't really pulled back into some of these prior highs, at that 110 to 111, where you had the support the last couple of days. So yeah, I like the shot at continuation up here, but until we start creeping down into the 110 to 112 level, going to be patient with this name. It might be down 3%, but overall, we always say when in doubt, zoom out. This still looks solid when you bring that higher time frame in for a bounce here today. So yeah, it's not looking very good at all for the stock, but that's why we hopped out of it. And okay, SpaceX is going to break 151, which puts it in touch with 150 pretty soon. So I feel like that's going to be next, because I don't see Robinhood dropping $3 before this drops another buck.
All right, so we have another position on board right now, and that is, of course, Palantir, and it's coming in quite aggressively right now. We were always wondering, hey, what's up with that, right? As we were thinking, okay, Palantir is trying to make a move. Where is it going? What's it going to do? Well, it makes a move to the downside right now, 132.50. So it looks like this name, finally, they're coming for it. It was up. It was green. We're trying it. I'm not in it that heavy. We don't even have one uni yet. But, another name that we had liked in and around this level. It's too bad, because sometimes these levels that you write down early on in the day, they hit early, but then the market just cannot hold it, right? So there it comes right back into 132. Again, because we're not super into this name yet, I think there's a little bit of room to dip by this name, but, breaking into yesterday's lows right now, if we take down that 131.50 area, that we need to think about getting out. So right now, 131.50, that might be our last sort of look at this name, but right now, here it's coming in. It's Palantir just straight down. That was 134.60 into 131.80 now. Palantir coming back in just a little bit now as it's making moves to the downside. It's PLTR. So just giving it a little bit of room now, breaking into yesterday's levels. We'll try a little bit more down here, but without a rebound in this market, man, Palantir right now just suffering a bit. We're long out of the money now, 75 cents on PLTR, but I'm comfortable with it as we do expect some of these moves. Just wish it didn't happen so quick there. Like that's $1, that's $133.30 down to 131.30 in a minute and a half. So downside pressure here for PLTR.
Yeah, well, it's downside pressure everywhere. You just snagged underneath 151. So you saw a 150 handle for like a brief second there on SpaceX. It got down to, 150.80 looks like the low. This next 3 minutes seemingly holding the bid. So we're in it back through 151. Again, it doesn't have to get to 150 even to hold the level. It just has to get close enough, and then we'll look for the long. I'm not even thinking this is necessarily, bounce here and get the VWAP pronto. Nah. I don't think we've been dropping way too far for that. So I'm looking at 153, like 53 to 54 would be a good target for this. And if we put in some higher lows and continue to hold 150, I think that could be good for some potential reloads. What's at least holding up better, as we'll stick with, as long as we're at the key level in SpaceX, we'll stay there. But IBIT, I got to give a second look to this, because IBIT is actually holding the same lows before. The market's making fresh lows, and we're holding the same bottom. So I feel like a break above 35.7 on IBIT, and I'll just be jumping back into this trade. Just because you're at the low doesn't mean you're not relatively strong. If the overall market makes fresh lows and you are holding the same one, then that is a form of relative strength. So while into SpaceX again, I can possibly jump back into IBIT, so long as it can maybe break that 35.7. We'll jump in. So a couple of names that we're trying to, well, one we are, but the other one we're trying to get long into is going to be that IBIT. But the market really is incredibly weak. Like I just saw, that's not a good candle.
Oh boy.
No, I just saw a bad candle in Micron here as well, which is not helping. SpaceX is bouncing, but Micron just took out that low. You got to get to 152 at least, so we can take a leg out.
We want to give a big shout out, everybody that's watching on TikTok, everybody that's watching here on YouTube, and a big shout out because we're still checking out the chat, man. I mean, put whatever questions you want in here. Super chats gets our attention for sure, but anything you want to know about right into here. Shout out to, say, Walker over here, Virginia Gold, Don Toke, everybody that's in the chat right now. And oh boy, do we have one right now for you. I mean, this is just another one of those names, and it goes into the gates of hell, and then just climbs right back out one more time, and that's Palantir, so which was down $1, now in the money 70 cents, and it's just about, honestly, the more and more I think about, what we're doing here every day, the more I love it. But there's Palantir, 132 to 133. We talked about having to give it a little bit of room, and that's exactly what we do. And now there it goes, right back into the dollar club. So although it's been tough to find some winners today, we'll pretty much be close to flat now after this move. I mean, we'd like to see Palantir get us back into Greensville right now, but we did take a little bit of a hit, obviously, on SpaceX. Not much. We made that back. We're flat. SpaceX and Amazon are awash. Oh, wow, that was a nice fill there at the 25 period. Didn't even realize it came back down in there. And then our big loss is going to be on Apple, which still can't get out of its own way. So far, so good there. As there goes, let's go Palantir, man. Right back to the upside now. And we've still got on a decent amount of shares. We still got on 60%. So we talked about that yesterday, getting out a little too quick on the way back up or down, whatever way you are. But this one, we hold out a little bit. We did have to get something out at 133 when that popped through. And then there's 133.25s. And now we absorb some 134s. Maybe we can get back there to the upside now on PLTR. But hey, man, this is what it is. Just got to trade the names that you believe in and that you've done the work on. It's too bad we lost on Apple. That's too bad. But there's USO right now, Adara. USO down $1, almost in a straight line there. Oil coming back in quite nicely, which should spark the market a little bit. But the NASDAQ and USO have been disconnected for a minute. Wow. Now we're really loving it again. There goes Palantir up again, man. This stock just can't be held down. And if it is, apparently it's only for 3 minutes. So that's a nice move there as we wait to see if Palantir can get back. I mean, we're almost low of the day in Palantir we have. We're going to try to get it out at the 200 period one more time for PLTR. Man, good day. A bad day. The first couple of trades turning now out to be relatively flat. So far, so good here. We just got to wait. To see if this market can rebound, right? I mean,
it's trying,
SpaceX
but it's not.
Is a good one at 150.
It's trying. The market's trying. I still don't love that candle that I saw in Micron, but it's actually held the lows. SpaceX is able to get to 152 here, but we need to show a little bit more oomph than just bouncing for 3 minutes, right? Let's see if we can actually sustain higher low. Stop the bleeding a little bit better than we are. IBIT finally broke through and held that bottom, so we'll take another stab at that. That's holding some relative strength. But it is 1020, and I know there's been some small cappers that have been moving around a lot better to the upside than the market. So let's have a look at the desk with Adara to see what they might be.
Yes, indeed, Neil. If you feel saddened by the state of the market, you will be probably less saddened by the state of these small caps, especially if you're trading some of them. So here is CLRO. This is clear one, and this one is clearly to the upside. I did not see any news on this. I know this, I believe, rallied last week as well. I see a $25 million market cap and a float here of 740,000 shares, so very small float. Let's take a look here at BJDX. This is Blue Jay Diagnostics. No news on this one either. They have a $1.7 million market cap and a float of 940,000 shares. Roughly 19% of that float is sold short. So another very low float name here that's rallied in the past. Last but not least, another repeat offender, as we like to call them, these names that have rallied before. This is COSM, Cosmo Health, obviously giving back some of its move, but bouncing nicely here off its lows. This company reporting prelim Q2 and H1 2026 revenue. This is like the fourth company, including Samsung, that I've seen report preliminary Q2 revenue today. Either way here, preliminary revenue shows growth. They have a $16 million market cap and a 42 million share float. Back to you.
Thanks as always, Adara. It's not necessarily about the story. Sometimes it's really just about the float as a reason for the stock to go up. They soak it up, and then they're able, when I say they, one firm, whale traders, whomever it might be, soaks the float by buying a bunch of shares, and you get like de facto squeezes where it doesn't have to be sold short. There's just not a lot of available liquidity out there because someone's holding a large position, and it works. You can hate the game. Yeah, don't hate the player.
Yeah, exactly. Hate the game.
You can hate the way that it happens, but you got to understand that that's just the way it works in small cap land. And so sometimes it's the name that is the smallest instead of the name that has the best story for the juice. So we are still getting that SpaceX bounce, but IBIT, new position, bottoming tail, wick. I'm going to play this one. I want to be adding to this on a trend break. So this The bounce we played the first time for the trend break, if it breaks that little 3-step down trend above 35.7, which I mentioned before, I'm adding to this position into the volume weighted average price. But SpaceX is just not really doing much with that initial bounce. It gives you the dollar and then pulls right back in. So I'm going to look to scalp the buck again because this seems to want 150 bucks the way that it's headed to the downside. You know, every single time we bounce, it's very muted. So you've got to be able to take that profit and run and then just get out at the low once again. Nvidia had been doing really well. Now it's underneath VWAP. It also has this going along with it. So pre-market low, opening range low, and now the bounce that's happening here. I haven't traded Nvidia, but that's an all-morning trend. Into a weak market, this was strong. If it loses that, short, give it to VWAP. It just hasn't happened yet. But for now, it's IBIT, SpaceX, hopefully can scalp that dollar. And if it's all it's going to give us, then we'll take that and then maybe wait for 53, 54s for the next leg out. Because for now, this market it's just been bleeding all over itself. Like there's not even a green candle on the 15-minute on the NASDAQ at this point. Now you look at what the reason why we're down here, which has been the memory chip names. You look at DRAM, 9% down. You pop it onto a 15-minute chart, and there's no green. Like the open tried to go, and it's been all red since. And now it's at that key low. But there's just no bounce. Like you're at a support level, and where are the buyers? I don't see them. No, until you start to see some buyers at some of these key levels, like they have at least tried on SpaceX, they have tried on IBIT. They're not really trying very hard in the memory chip names.
All right, we finally stepped back into SpaceX here on this break. I just got 150.75. I mean, it looks like it is going to try to take down 150. And,
it wants it.
You know, that's a problem for sure. I mean, this is held for, you know, last time. It's held in the past is what I'm trying to get at. That 148, I mean, if we zoom in, you know, completely and just to see like where we were, that was 146. So 146.50 or so is the last time we tested it in around, well, we tested it the next couple of days as well, but that was the lowest that we had gotten there, 146.80. And then some of these wicks right into here looks like 148. So, you know, if you're not going to stop out at 150, which you probably should, up to you guys, but, you know, whatever you're going to do, just looking at SpaceX, if it does break that 150, there is some more downside pressure for sure on SPCX. So just be careful on that note. Let's take a little piece out if it does break above. It just broke above 151 there. I'll put a 151.05 just to see if we can take 30 cents on it and just give us a little bit more breathing room, right, as we go, because we are very aware of what's potentially going to happen at that 150 marker. So being careful with SPCX down at those levels. Hey, look, man, it's kind of a good thing that we did understand where Palantir was at the time, you know, able to get out of it, still have a piece on of PLTR, looking to get a little bit more near 132, which is, there it is, we just got it. And then this 131.50. So, you know, we're still sitting there waiting to see if we get a little bit of a longer bid coming in on Palantir right now. So that's what we did. We just averaged into that one. And then we do have another average in, kind of like basically a new position here on Amazon. So we'll see if that wants to work out. Did dip by that one up to 30s now. Our most recent buy, we take a piece out there at 30. Our most recent buy was just right here at 20s. So let's see what happens with Amazon trying to get back upside. If we could take a little bit out at 40, maybe that would be something. But we've seen the move to the high end for Amazon. But as Neil mentioned, down 2.25 now. It's just playing counter trend on some of these names, just not overly working out right now. So yeah, a little bit disturbing here with the market not finding a bid, but we're going to try it one more time with Amazon. Our stop down here, 244.50. So, you know, well within our risk parameters for Amazon, but it is making that move lower as we speak. Thank you so much, Rob, for the reload and the coffee.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, thank you very much, Rob. That's an interesting cup. We'll take it. It's a little, I don't know. I don't know what I'd call that.
That's Rob's thing, man. He always brings us the best cups.
Yeah, we got the Trader TV Live mugs, but that's just way too boring. You guys have seen those already.
Boring.
Nice. Well, I don't know if it's that boring, but we're getting a nice bounce off of the lows here. I'm pretty much across the board. I'm seeing like Bitcoin just bounced, SpaceX just bounced a little bit, Robinhood just bounced $1 off of the lows. What about Nvidia? Because I want to keep looking at the same names for you guys. Now Nvidia is still kind of losing that bid, unfortunately. So Nvidia had been relatively strong, but even with that last little bounce in the market, it's seeming like it's still going downside. But maybe there's another chip. Yeah, AMD's trying to break the trend, so that looks at least a little bit good.
Okay.
So it's trying to do something off the lows. Micron, 900 on Micron.
Yeah.
It was $1,000 close to the close.
not too
Actually,
long
it closed
ago.
underneath that yesterday, and now 900 is trying to bounce off. So yeah, there's some signs that we're trying to find a bit of a bottom. IBIT sprinkled in and gonna wait for, like I said, a close above 35.7, and then this is an ad because I still want to play. Overall, I want to play this back into this prior high, into the high. I think there's plenty of room. Now it's almost 1% that it could go. So I still think this is a bit of an ad. All that while the market was making fresh lows, Bitcoin was able to hold up. And this is right where it ramped in the afternoon on volume yesterday. Actually, it wasn't the afternoon. I guess it was about noon when it ramped. So it's a good level as well, but I want to wait for the chance to add on a close on the 3-minute above 35, so a little bit more patience being put in. So I see James and a few people in the chat that are throwing some chip names that we haven't covered in there. One of them is this one, SMCI, now $25 and down 6%.
Ugh.
To say this is flat bottom broken, it has. I think it just wants 20 bones at this point. Like, there's just not much. This daily chart's about as broken as it gets. That's not like buying the dip on, AMD or Micron or Dell. That's just preying on SMCI. You can say fundamentally they got good things going on, but that stock's been in the penalty box. Okay, 152 again. Every time it gets up here, let's get greedy. No, not this time. This time I'll take 2 legs out instead of 1 at 152 because it's only bouncing $1, and then the sellers jump right back in and try to push it back under 151. But this is the one that needs to get to VWAP.
Yeah, let's go, man. Now we're $1.50 in the money, and we'll see if we can have some diamond hands here on SpaceX. I don't know where this is going, but we're taking some more outs right there. We talked about that dip buy right into there, and there it goes. And with a risk of only 75 cents, we're now in the money, $1.30 or so. So definitely worth taking a little bit out there on SPCX, as we still got a pretty big position there. And then there's another reload there. So although we talk about, hard to find some of these winners, not really if you follow your rules, right? And SpaceX, Palantir, they're just right into play again. Like, there's our 132. Dips right in, we buy the 132, right? Pretty easy, when it makes sense. And we did have our stop there. And it's nice when things actually start to work out for you. And it's so far so good here on Palantir and Company, as there it goes. Now really starting to blast up. Now $1.50 in the money on PLTR. Take another piece out as we get up into 133.55 again. So there it goes, man. Palantir up $1.50. SpaceX now up $1.20. So far so good there. Now we just got to wait for Amazon, and hopefully that one wants to go upside. But I don't know, man. This is another one that we are close to stopping out on, 244. It'll be fine. Well, we won't go red on Amazon or anything, but this is a dip buy that's just not going. As the NASDAQ is looking like it wants to go right now, it's trouble alert time for Amazon. It's not going, but that's okay. That's why you got multiple stocks on, right? So $1.70 now as we're getting extension here on PLTR one more time. So yeah, so far so good, but always looking for more, I think. And yeah, maybe we get it with Palantir. Not sure about SpaceX. It's having a little bit of a problem at 152.
It's just, that's been the story. Like, it'll get there and it doesn't want to go any further, but that's been the overall market. I think as long as that holds true, I'm staring right at you, Qs. Where's our back?
Qs.
Where's the back-to-back? Show me a second green candle on the 3-minute. At least it's tried a couple of times. It's got 1, 2, and then punch back down. 1, 2, and then punch back down. We can't even get the second green. So in that vein, I just went right back over. So I bid, it tagged VWAP, and then right back underneath. So, we lose the volume weighted average price, scalps them out, and then wait for the low again. I think that's all you can really do. And then looking for a potential short. I hate looking short this name because Nvidia was so strong, but that's a trend break that's now consolidating under VWAP. So you can't like VWAP, and you can't look at that reversal without thinking short. For me. So I'm going to be short on NVDA. The other thing to consider, that's a downtrend. That's a break and rejection of the prior low. Like, look at that engulfing 15-minute candle. That's a pretty bad candle on what a stock that was in an uptrend. So I'm going to hop short at NVIDIA just because that's what the structure says. And it need to be getting a little bit closer to 192, maybe even above 92, because this has got to be given to VWAP. 192.5 would be the out here, and I hope it goes up. But that's just, it's a rejection of the pre-market high break. It's a trend break downside. It's VWAP. It's a lot of things here on NVDA.
All right, we said we were hoping for Amazon. Go. Maybe this one will come right back upside for us. That would be nice, wouldn't it? If we can get a little love there for Amazon, trying to break now back above that 245. We just took a 245.30s or 245.25 fill there for flat. So just hoping that we can get a move back up to the upside there, as this name has definitely not participated in the last hour or so. All right, man, what else you guys want to do? Yeah, people blaming SpaceX. Yeah, don't blame SpaceX. It's coming right back up. We'll see if SpaceX can get to that 153 marker. That'd be good if that was indeed the case. Disney, we could check out now that I see Randy over here. What do you got over there? Croissant. Okay, so not a bad look there. Tesla downside. We should talk about Rivian. I think a little bit more movement on Rivian today. But there goes Tesla downside. Oh, we had that story about Toyota Motors opening up a plant somewhere here in the United States. That's not very well received, as Trump was talking about it, I believe. So I wanted to look at this one, but not too much volume, only 131. Hey, Randy, 131,000 there on the volume. There's Rivian today, down 12%. So, expected that. Again, raising that money back in for Rivian. Decent numbers, so nothing wrong with Rivian. But yeah, definitely some downside pressure there. And Amazon just went whoops to the downside as it just lost a little bit of a bid there, down to 244.50. We just stopped out there. Not worth reloading, but maybe that was the low, a 244.50, but we'll be fine. There it goes. We're fine getting out of it. It's Amazon.
Tate Edwards. Tate Edwards. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
D nice.
It's almost like a Monday for me, but you want to get bearish? Let's get bearish. Long-time viewer, first-time super chat. We appreciate you, Sean, Joe, and Adair. Appreciate the research, insight, and humor. Well, it is feeling, like I said, it's feeling a very bearish today. And a lot of it is, you're about to get 9% in a fresh low on Micron, which is losing $900. Figma is making 1024 JWD's day. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb.
Figma.
And say, I'm not saying Figma is the strongest looking stock out there, but show me what else is up 7%. Now, the daily chart stinks. Let's get that out of the way. But hey, it's got a double bottom. This is not just hanging at the lows anymore. It's double bottom on the daily. It's kind of breaking away. It's above the 50 period, which I like. I always like when some stocks hold the 50 period and make a low, get that rounded bottom kind of look. So this is pretty solid. You got to like this break. It pulls back into prior 2-day highs and is going. So there's a lot of relative strength in Figma. Can't really argue with this. I still haven't seen a green candle on the NASDAQ on the 15-minute, and this is what you're doing. An engulfing candle up on Figma. The opposite of that is why I just went Nvidia short. Was that kind of like engulfing candle on the 15-minute to the downside. So Figma's got it going here today. Everything else has been the gates of hell. So let's do this, not for the market.
Yeah, I would have thought Figma was a short there, but obviously
I think the normal assumption is that Figma.
Right, that's what I mean. Like I would have been thinking that super chat was because you killed it short, but no, you never know.
That's where my brain usually goes first.
You never know which way people are thinking there. I'm going to try to get back in to Amazon. We may have just wicked out there. I don't know what kind of sell pressure came into that, but it is a downside play, and you just got to be responsible for the trades. And that 244, I want to see that one more time. So, just being careful with that one. I mean, Intel back at $100 could be exciting. It just bounced off 109 right there for INTC. So potential look here for Intel coming back into play just a bit. That's not a horrible name, I think, to try to catch the long. But I don't really want to look long anymore.
Here comes SpaceX.
Yeah, I'm trying to look short. So here comes SpaceX is right. I mean, we're still in the money. We don't have a whole bunch of shares left. But yeah, good call out there by Neil. We're still $1.80 now in the money on Palantir. I'm thinking about just taking some here. I am at 44s. 134. So we'll have to wait to see if there is some love back in right now for this name. And of course, that's Palantir. So Give it a little bit. We just took an 84 there. That's what I was stumbling on. We still are at 134 to get a little more out. Hopefully that will hit for us at some point. There it is. Yes, sir. Let's go, man. Big time trading on Palantir today. My #1 stock by far. Nothing's gone against us on Palantir. And again, we talked about this yesterday with Joe, like when we were trading SpaceX. Sometimes it's just about looking at one name. And if we just looked at Palantir today, it would have been all good. But we don't have that crystal ball. You take the opportunities that are in front of you. And there it goes, Palantir now $2. SpaceX, yeah, man, it comes and goes. And now it's right back to the upside again, trying to break through 150, 150. That's right where your 25 period is. So we need to get above that. Back into 152 would be pretty sweet. Let's see what happens here with SpaceX as it's going. And bye-bye Palantir, man. Yeah, good call there. Back up to the 200 period, 134 and change. I'm going to give another offer right there. Get some more out at 30. Oh, we just missed it. Palantir upside for now.
And as you said, SpaceX keeps bouncing off the same level over and over again. It's really settled in at this 151. So, look, as long as that's where the bid is, then that's the only place really that you feel good about buying it. But sell in front of 152. You got to be able to do it. Every single pop is fading lower highs, still putting in these lower highs on it. Nvidia is still underneath that VWAP, so I'm still looking to add to it under VWAP. It got close to breaking that 191. There's 191 and then 190.50 would be the two targets for this on VWAP. Sorry about those dark pool wicks on Nvidia. Didn't really trade down there the last couple of days. 190 is the actual local bottom when it comes to that name. We're going to go up to Adara to see what maybe some non-tech sectors are doing on Sector Watch, because you know what? The NASDAQ might be bad, but there's a reason 100%. Why the ES is only 0.7 to the downside.
Yeah, there's actually more than a few reasons as to why the rest of this market, specifically the ES, is to the upside. Neil, and let's get into it. Health tech incredibly strong today. Eli Lilly and Johnson & Johnson leading the way to the upside, as discussed earlier. Energy minerals strong as we get a couple different reports here of strikes from Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. That's going to be a problem. Consumer services, other than some of these cruise lines understandably moving lower, an opposition here to an increase in oil. Other than those cruise names, though, generally pretty good look here for consumer services. Health services strong, communication strong, industrial services generally strong, utilities looking good, consumer non-durables looking good, finance mostly looking good. And tech services, I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to as well. Meta, Google, Microsoft, the three Mag 7s in the sector, all up roughly 1% or more each. Netflix, Palantir, IBM, and ServiceNow to the upside, though some of the other names within the SaaS space are trading lower. App11 is to the downside. Oracle is down 4%. And some of these names I know off camera we were talking about as being really strong. Palo Alto Networks, CrowdStrike, they're going to be red today as well. Now let's talk about what's really, really weak, and that's going to be semiconductors and memory names in the electronic technology sector. Now, as we know, Samsung Electronics released a smashing, massive beat here for preliminary Q2 earnings, and it led to more concerns in the market about memory prices. You've got Intel down 10%, KLAC down 9%, SanDisk 13%, or almost 14% now, WDC down 11%, GLW down 8%, Marvell down 10%, producer manufacturing, so a lot of these production names with regards to some of these chip and AI plays, they're also to the downside. Caterpillar, AMAT, LRCX, GEV, all bright red. If you're looking at tech, it's probably a bad day. If you're looking at some of these other sectors, maybe a greater day for you. Back to you.
Man, it's a smashing day for sure. There today down 2.3%. But look at Apple. Apple smashed all the way back to 313 right now. Like that was boom. Now higher than where we got out of it. Unbelievable. We got out of this name at 937, and the NASDAQ at 937, of course, was right here. So actually right here. And yeah, now NASDAQ is getting absolutely pumped lower and lower and lower. And you can see our good friend over here, Apple, just retracing all the way back to the upside. So was actually thinking about a short against some of these top wicks. Now we're a little too far down to execute that. But, 313.30, a good level, I'm thinking anyways, for Apple. We'll see if we can get some love for that name if it does come into the 313 area. So, it's there now, but 313.30 against some of those high wicks is not a horrible idea, I think, there for Apple. But do you really want to short a strong name, especially if the NASDAQ does rebound? That's going to be a problem. But the NASDAQ right now not rebounding at all. Just talk about the same names. I mean, out some more there on the on Palantir. Was thinking about the TQs, and then just looking at this. Here's a halter, BEC, nothing going on there. SVAC, 291,000 shares. CPOP was the one that was doing in the hundreds of millions, and right now, 224 million shares. CPOP just getting popped lower right now, 8 cents. Wow. When we looked at this in the pre-market, man, this is 13, 14 cents downside there on CPOP on a heck of a lot of volume. So there, that one goes lower. Not creating too many winners in the space on the small cap side of things there today. And I don't really, is SMTG one? We have a scanner up, but they're all not volume related. So I have to wait for some of those ones. And then as we did through the rundown, JP Morgan and some of the banks just continue to go. And this is why diversification is so important, man. I mean, making sure that you do have some bank stocks. We talked about the XBI and J&J and things like that. Definitely get into something a little bit different. MSS, that reminds you of Morgan Stanley, of course. It's not. It's Maison. Maison Solutions. So another name to look at potentially here if you guys are interested in. MSS. Good. Thank you for the super chat for sure. And it's down just a little bit today, down 10%, almost now there, 600,000 shares. So yeah, man, another name to add to maybe your watch list here if you're looking for names that have been getting hit. Nice downward trend there for MSS. And thank you for the super chat. It looks like you want to get out if this thing breaks above 65 cents or so.
I'd say SOS on that stuff.
Yeah, right now dancing around some of those 50 period, the 200 period on the daily.
Yeah, be careful too. Like with a penny stock, it does less than 1 million shares. That's not a lot of liquidity, and you want liquidity as well, because if there's no liquidity, then how are you supposed to be able to get in and out of your trades? Your slippage gets ridiculous. You can't manage your risk. All those types of things. Like if SpaceX, one thing I can be pretty confident about is if SpaceX breaks this low, which is 150.55, then you're out within the first few couple of ticks. Right? Like a penny stock, it's done 500,000 shares. Good luck trying to figure out what your slippage is. Because if it's 50 cents, 2 pennies is a 4%. So if it slips double that, you go from losing 4% to 8%. There's a reason why you try to trade liquid names, if you're at least able to keep all that good stuff out there. But again, with the market trying to bounce, I'm not reloading another time in SpaceX off 151. Each time it's bounced 51 to 52. The last bounce didn't really quite make it to 52. So it has to put in higher lows at this point if we're going to like it a little bit more. We just got another super chat here, and I think it's from Tate. Again.
Ooh, okay, good.
Tate, sorry, forgot Randy. Love you too. Shout out to Randy. Shout out to Rob for the reload. And as you can now see at the desk, there is Sia at the desk who has joined us this morning. So the entire team, I want to thank you guys to the viewers. It's really all about the viewership. We're here for you guys. Let us know what you guys are watching, because I can tell you, it's a painful one for these markets continuing to flush down. I got the eyeballs on finally catch a level where you're able to bounce on SpaceX, but it just looks like we're going to make another fresh low. Nvidia was like the new VWAP short play. Looking VWAP to the low of the day on Nvidia. Went from one of the relatively strong names to suddenly turning weak. Again, I say relatively strong, not because it's down 2%. It was relatively strong because it was still trying to press highs when the market was looking bad. Not many things were doing that in chiplet.
We're taking advantage. Like I said, the market may be now bouncing, which is nice. Too bad we're not in Amazon still. That would have been good. But yeah, I took advantage of that SpaceX bump into the 30s again. So we don't have to reload it. Our position's still fine. We are looking to reload if it does come back in. But for right now, 151 set, 151.30, another out there for the SpaceX, and we'll just have to keep looking. Gold today, I just saw that's just hitting some of the scanners, 381.25. I don't know why it would have hit a scanner there, but nice move to the downside there, just broke lower, down 0.2% is gold. Nicely downside, for now. So we're gonna have to try to be as patient as we can, trying to catch some of the winners in the space. Silver as well. But that was a good bounce. We actually talked about some of these levels, I believe, last week. I don't know if it was Michael or who we had on, Steve Talman, somebody, looking at 360s down there and talking about how we got to go all the way back to October. And that's what you do to find these levels. And there it is right there on gold. So that's October of 25, of course. So right into there, 360, not looking great there for GLD. Yeah, SpaceX doing its own thing in Palantir as well. But all right, Oracle. We had some talk about Oracle. Oracle, what a roller coaster for Oracle. And now it's even lower today, down that 4%. I mean, you want to talk about yesterday we celebrated, I forget what the name was. It was 9 straight down days for some sort of a name, and it came back. Maybe it was Walmart?
It was Oracle. Yeah, it was apparently
Oracle.
It had one green day, and now, oh my gosh, we're back at year lows.
Yeah, so we were celebrating yesterday. We sort of celebrated, and I don't know why this is coded as red, because it's a green day right there yesterday. But yeah, we had 9 straight down days, and then Oracle, the cat came back the very next day and sold that down one more time. So we got to be careful here with Oracle, trying to make new lows right now. And I think this one could be a buy at these levels, but it was just 250. Now it's 138. So this name was 250 back June 1st. So give this thing 25 or less trading days, and you've gotten absolutely destroyed on that kind of a trade there for Oracle. So that's come way, way back in right now. And downside again, I know you got out of SpaceX, but there goes SpaceX right now, hitting a little lower. Nice little bounce back up for us here, but SpaceX making moves lower now as this name can't seem to get out of its own way.
Hasn't broken 150 yet.
No, has not broken 150. So we're still in it. We're going to give it some love here. We're long at 150.30s right now.
As we get another super chat, it's Manny Olives. It's not many olives. It's Manny Olives.
All right. We love
Manny Olives. Oh, the position board's wrong, by the way. Which I don't know why. I'm still in position. Manny Olives. Lucy, what are your thoughts on eyewear? Also, rest in peace, Portugal. Well, Portugal had a good run. It's not RIP just because it got eliminated. Only one team gets to win the World Cup. I think Portugal acquitted themselves very well. They were. I don't think were expected to win, and they lost 1-0 to Spain, one of the best teams out there. I don't think Portugal, in my opinion, was really that. They weren't a top echelon team, so congratulations to them. And then Lucy, eyewear. I mean, if you're not making a major deal, then realistically it's going to be a boring name. But it's got the dollar break going for it, so I think at least maybe you can have something with support at the dollar. Right, like it was a yesterday play, but it's still holding the $1 level. Penny stocks that hold the dollar tend to be pretty good for a short little jaunt. But penny stocks are penny stocks for a reason, so you usually want to take some profit when you get a chance to. But you got to at least like the fact that it broke the dollar, held the dollar. That's the name of the game for a penny stock. Let's go to Adair.
Go.
Here is the US dollar, and as of right now, kind of a precarious look here. We did have, the end of last week, these 2 bounces off that 100 halves leveled, and yesterday we actually get the opposite candle, so we get a topping tail candle after 2 straight bottoming tail candles, and today we're relatively flat. So very odd little position here for the US dollar. Not a lot of economic data of note today. We actually really only had one print. It was the US trade balance, slightly higher than expected, so negative 77.6 billion versus negative 78.4 billion, which is what we were expecting. It's also going to be well above the prior print year of negative $55.9 billion. Tomorrow, you're going to get USA wholesales month over month, so wholesale sales month over month change. And at 2 p.m. tomorrow, you're going to get the FOMC meeting minutes. So that's going to be significant. The first minutes following the first meeting under new Fed Chair Kevin Warsh, aka Task Force. So let's see, again, if we see any mentions of task forces, because I highly doubt we'll get any sense of forward guidance coming from those minutes. Then on July 9th, so Thursday, you're going to get some initial jobless claims, some existing home sales, and a little bit of Fed speak. On Friday, no economic data of note. So that's kind of our economic data rundown for the week. Now, here's a look at the CME Fed Watch tool. Still seeing overwhelmingly, we're expecting a hold of rates here, though about a quarter of participants expecting a 25 basis point rate hike. If you go to the probabilities, we're still seeing a hike in September and no other moves after that point. So we'll have to wait and see as we get more economic data how that changes. No massive economic data this week that could really change that significantly, though the FOMC minutes could provide a little bit more clarity. We'll have to wait and see. Back to you.
Right, we're just scalping out now 20 cents. I mean, we got 150.80s, so we already got 50 cents on this trade. But yeah, very nervous as now SpaceX, and we got a bunch of outs up here, right? Just trying to scalp back some of that money. So a bunch of outs near 151, and we just took a 150.50 right now as we get lighter and lighter on SpaceX, as it looks like it does indeed want to break a little lower right now. So SPCX on the run right now, back upside. So we're going to take advantage of that. I'm still waiting at 159. You know what? We take another piece right here in the 70s if we can. It's definitely flying around here. 31 million shares today on SPCX and trying to fight off 150. Will it win? I don't know, but there it is, 171. Okay, we'll take 40 cents. I mean, now it's back, into a more comfortable position. We don't have to panic too much down there at 150. So yeah, good trade there as we hold it. Now back into the money now, 50 cents. And Palantir, same kind of ways, man. It's now coming back into VWAP. So we do got to have a quick look. Yeah, let's go SpaceX, man. That's going to be a good one. Have a quick little look here at Palantir, at VWAP again. So should be taking something out. So we will do that right there. But yeah, there it goes, man. TQQ diamond shape pattern on the TQQs. On which one? 4-hour range. Okay.
Diamond shape pattern.
Yeah, just looking at what it's doing right now on the TQQs. Yeah, beautiful move back to the upside. We said we were trying to maybe look for some longs. I'm glad we have SpaceX. I'm glad we have Palantir, but that's a nice move on the TQs. And as soon as you take down, there's your 25 period moving average, right? We took it down there. Now it's starting to slope up. I do like the long look there on the TQQ. So thank you, Roland, for that one. Roland coming through with a TQQ look. Thank you for that for sure.
Yeah, thanks for the super chat there, Roland.
Come on, SpaceX.
Yeah, you are starting to really get a good bounce. I'm not offering SpaceX until it's like a 151.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I want into 152. Like, I'm giving it to 150, so I think it's got some room. But new position alert is going to be back into Robinhood. It's closed. It finally is closed more of the gap. It's at least come closer to those teams. Like that low 111, 110 area doesn't obviously get down there, but it just bounced off of yesterday's breakout at the open, which is 112.5. So it jumped in here back through 113. Whoops, too far in the other direction. Back in through 113 on this candle break. It's going to give it to this local bottom. This is a look for VWAP. At this point, I want the volume weighted average price. I saw a good question in the chat, at least, and great shout out to the viewers for this too, because it was in the middle of the show. Someone asked a question about VWAP. Oh, okay. And it got answered before we could even get to it. It actually got answered in the chat, so we didn't have to really do much of that because the chat took care of it for us.
Oh.
But that's one of the indicators that you'll see oftentimes on the show, and I like it. It's not that it's some kind of a gospel, but when it respects the volume-weighted average price, the stock for resistance, then I'm going to respect that resistance up here if we get up there. So yeah, market's making a nice little comeback bounce here. So hopefully Robinhood will get us into that volume weighted average price and give us the goods for sure. And a big shout out to, well, I mean, pretty much everybody that's been trying to pick these bottoms, but it has been tough sledding. As I said, SpaceX, well, that's right. In the drop down, you can trade it in Toronto if you would like. There's SpaceX TO. That's where I own it, but that's not where we're actually trading it here.
Let's go.
It has been trying. It has been trying off this 150, 151 level. But until it actually breaks through 152, then it is only like minor scalp trades out, just holding for it to really close into the gap. So obviously going to be taking L's early, but finally you're starting to get a little bit of a better bid. But remember, it's done this for an hour now, bouncing in the low 150s to 152 without breaking 152. So I think taking profit there makes some sense because that's where the sellers have been. I believe we're going to Adara at the desk.
Beware, guys. In 5 minutes, GameStop is kicking off its shareholder meeting. So GameStop's annual meeting of stockholders, that's going to start here at 11 a.m. Eastern. Shareholders are apparently expected during this meeting to vote on executive compensation as well as CEO Ryan Conan's performance awards. So again, Ryan Cohen, we know he's been trying to buy eBay. I don't know why I can't talk today. That could also potentially be on watch here. So potential eBay acquisition. Shareholders voting on executive compensation and this overall meeting, that's going to be 11 a.m. You can find out more about that on X at TTV Research. We did have a post that just went off about this. But be aware if you're trading GameStop. Back to you.
All right, guys.
It's on the website.
Yeah, let's go. It's on the website for sure. We take Palantir now. It's $2 going up to $1.34 as we get going here. Just going to take another out, and we're going to talk about what's for lunch, and we're going to go over and have a quick little look right now and figure out exactly what is for lunch right now today.
I go for salmon.
I looked yesterday. It's not going to be salmon. It is. We're going to call it up. Yesterday it was burgers, of course. So I'm just going to call it up right now. Reload menu coming out right here. The breakfast is today. The lunch is right now, and the lunch is a Thai flag. So, yesterday we had the U.S. flag there. It's Thai basil beef. So we've had that before. It's like a little ground beef. It should be okay there. Jasmine rice, garlic sauteed, Chinese broccoli. So I definitely like some Chinese greens into there. Thai cucumber salad, which has been tasty in the past. My daughter absolutely loves those Thai cucumber salads. She makes them herself with lime and chili there today. So that's what's for lunch. Sounds pretty good, man. Thai basil beef. We'll take it. Should be a good lunch. That is for sure. And look, I'm not trying to be stubborn too much with SpaceX for myself. I mean, there's an out there at 151. We should have had that out right there at 30. Unfortunately, I'm at 151.40s. So we just get missed by 4 cents right there. Hopefully they'll come back up and hit us. And if that's the case, then all good there on SpaceX. As we leave you, we did reload. So this is a reload, or it's a new position, but we reloaded it at those lows for Amazon. Let's see if that name gets going here in a potential market rebound is what we're hoping for into the day. So those are the positions. There's a lot of them happening right now, but so far so good there. Amazon on a little reload near the lows of the day. That low is a break of 244, so that's pretty imminent right now. Amazon not doing well on a day like today, but flat considering, right? It's just not doing well right now, but flat into a red 2% day. Let's see if Amazon wants to bounce. There's the break of 244.
And Byron Hart in the chat.
What's up, Byron?
If Sean said yesterday that I would feel a way about no burgers today, but them having it yesterday, then he was absolutely correct about that. Not because
it's like the tacos are never here when you're here,
It's a weird thing. Like there's a few things the caterer doesn't do very often, and I feel like it's like the pokeroo or something. Like I just keep missing it.
Yeah.
Like half the time I'm gone, there's going to be tacos that week. They don't do burgers. I think we've had burgers from this caterer twice. Possibly. And of course, the week I'm gone, that's what we'll miss. But then we come back and we get something we have all the time, which is this Thai basil, which is absolutely fun. We'll enjoy it one way or another.
Fun.
You can't complain.
There goes SpaceX.
But a good free lunch. It's not a free lunch, but a good catered lunch that'll be here. But you know what you guys have going for you? Hopefully the volume weighted average price soon.
Let's go.
That would be really nice. I don't think that's asking, it's asking a lot. I don't think it's asking too much. You don't care about the blue ocean market, which again is in the drop down before. But can we please just break 152 so we can get that next round up? Because for me, I'm holding for up here on this bad boy. So that's what I want to see. I don't want to just see this dollar half that it's been able to get off the lows. I want it to show some real continuation to the upside. Just like Micron was able to get to VWAP, let's see if SpaceX can do the same. But it's past 11. That means we'll be back at 2. It's 32 seconds past, Joe.
Be careful with Joe.
We gave you a full 39 seconds, Joe. You want 45 seconds?
He wants
extra?
a lot. He wants more.
Okay, so 45 seconds right now. We'll give Joe an extra in a minute. Because Joe's been putting in some serious work. Shout out to Joe for filling in. We appreciate you, Joe. So we're going to go until 11:01, and then we're going to throw it on over to the midday, because that's how we roll. And now it's 11:01. We'll see you back at 2 o'clock. Peace.
Good fucking guy.